we have 109 affected people in the UN mission in South Sudan. Under the meet, we have a question.
Thank you for calling. Last Sunday, the Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki was returning from a meeting in the ICC officials. Israel, as he quickly told them about the confiscation or what is called
perfect weather. That has come to an end, and for the rest of the weekend, we'll be a little closer to seasonal.
Are you aware of this incident? Do you have any statement? And a follow-up to the same question. If Israel acts as the occupying power when it comes to the movement of Palestine, why don't power in it becomes and distribution of that to the Palestinians?
Right now it's cloudy up here, some 7 degrees.
Okay, first, appreciated the cooperation we have had with the authorities in Israel.
And coming up at 12:30, we're set to hear from the city of Toronto with word that 30,000 appointments are still available from the city's mass vaccination sites. There could be other things announced as well. We shall see. We should hear from the city's board.
So you don't have to. There's any reason everything I do on this machine you're just going to count to.
When your living room is a classroom, home office, and canine concert hall. Guys, I'm working. Rehearsal later. I'll bring treats. A little peace and quiet can be found if you make room for it. You need affordable, flexible storage solutions to access storage and find space in your place while needed. Shop Canadian, Store Canadian. Try 4 weeks.
We're having an unannounced press conference from the city a half hour before the province starts. They got something short and bad, tell us.
Now more than ever.
Less than 3, 4, 5 times a day.
This is 680 News.
Get your picks ready for the numbers. I already know what they are.
Cambodia wants to train dogs to detect the presence of the virus that causes COVID-19 in humans. The Director General of the Cambodian Mine
Somebody
Action
sprayed
Center says the
anti-Asian graffiti.
His agency work with the health
The police are investigating
The
this.
agency's
Wow.
trainers have experienced handling
I have
dogs
7
with
cameras
the
plus audio of somebody throwing blood in my face because I'm black.
coronavirus. Tests using dogs to detect the virus.
They spend hours refusing to do
often
anything.
above 90%.
All I wanted was a copy of the tape, not for me. I wanted them to get a copy to save their argument that they don't have to do it.
GameStop continues. 680 News.
And all this talk about body cameras doesn't mean shit. They did not just start that. They've had them for years.
A luxury condo in downtown Toronto.
Oh yeah, 2 more cameras plus audio. 2 more audio feeds.
Truly a place to call home. Plus, bank.
I'm not allowed to have an HIV test no matter where I go to get it. Wow. All them little marks on my chin, every single one of them's an open wound. So before you start with this, well, you can only get it from blood-to-blood contact. Yes, I had blood-to-blood contact. That's why you can't have a test. You can only get it from blood-to-blood contact. Think about what that person said. And these are pussies that, one, identify as Caucasian. And they don't even look white. Don't worry about that. Proud and strong racists. Pussies, terrified of me. Wouldn't lift a finger to touch me out of turn because they know they'll get fucking killed. But, he's about to die. You're going to have problems, bro. Oh, I think I got closer problems to deal with. There's one outside now that's going to be bleeding tonight.
To the move, Chris Witkowski.
Well, sort of. The Reddit army out in full force again today, Alex.
To the moon, out again. He just belittled violence against women, but he's white, so it's okay. And you're going to say, oh, his name is, Caucasian. Oh, you get mad. Aryan, you get mad. It's okay for him to joke about hitting women. A 70-year-old joke. And he just told it on the radio again.
The CEO Elon Musk tweeted today that he thinks Tesla could become the biggest company, probably in a few months. The tweets were later deleted. And remember, he has clashed with the SEC in the past over tweets like that. The Dow right now higher by
he's clashing with the FCC because his company shouldn't actually be listed.
The Dow and S&P looking at gains this week. Now, that ship blocking the Suez Canal is probably going to be there until Tuesday or Wednesday.
It's not
and
moving.
that is best
It's
case
never
scenario.
moving.
An attempt to
You have
refloat
to
the
do
ship
shit.
today
You have to
failed.
break
We
the
are hearing
ships.
the U.S. Army could be sent to the area as
Well, no,
soon
I know
as
they have to
tomorrow.
break the ship
Now,
because
the
they are
canal,
not going to
which
break
makes
that
up
canal
10%
over your
of world
fucking
trade,
tin can.
passing through normally is especially crucial for the transport of oil. Al Nightingale is with Bloomberg in London.
Some of the messaging has been a little tricky in terms of what the Suez Canal Authority is saying. We do hear at least a week. The grounding happened on Tuesday, so that would.
There's the Asians mad that the cops are making it about sex and Asians. You fucked up.
So yeah, it's going to take a bit longer than a weekend, we think.
The price for oil right now is up by $2.36, $60.91, a gain of 4%. The Canadian dollar going along for the ride, it's up 23,100, 79.5 cents US. And then gold higher by $7, $17.34. The TSX up by 22 points, 18,673. It's looking at a loss this week of about 1%. I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
Canadians love helping each other. Oh, whoops. Oh, here. Let me grab that for you. Thank you. As I was saying, Canadians, like you, love helping each other. No worries. And when you donate your vehicle to Kidney Car, that's exactly what you're doing. Funding programs and services for kidney patients right here in Canada. Plus, you get your car towed away for free and a minimum $300 tax receipt, often more. Right on. Kidney Car, helping Canadians help each other for over 27 years.
Your stupid piece of car weren't even worth $300.
You can win $1,000 a day for life.
Wait, every single day?
Yeah.
So I'd start liking Mondays.
I teach your dumbass lesson. Next time you make a pledge, you better pay up.
Living on the fringes of society.
Donate your buddy shit today.
But you get $1,000 every day for life.
Then TGIM, baby. And every other day, too.
Daily Grand Lotto. Draws every Monday and Thursday. Buy tickets in store and online at olg.ca. Be the first to know. Breaking news as soon as it happens on 680 News. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. Right now, downtown Toronto. A mostly cloudy sky. It's 9 degrees.
Derailed streetcar. Got that out the way fast in this fucking boat. How do you derail a streetcar? That's a good question. That is an incredibly good question. Trust me, I think it's a good question.
This is Friday, March 26th. I'm Irene Treckliff.
And I'm Alex Bloomfield. Here's what's making news this hour. We're just moments away from a COVID-19.
Hey, if you were to stream on the internet, we could still hear your ass when it was raining.
To sign up for their vaccine appointments.
Your punk ass thinks I'm going to download an app that I have to pay you for, or buy a radio I got to pay you for. Not going to happen.
To halt a rapid growth in COVID cases being driven by more contagious variants.
After record-breaking warmth, a big change weather-wise, with winds expected to pick up this afternoon. A special weather statement is in effect.
That's not the 2-pound thing, that's the 3-pound thing. No, I think Buddy does it on purpose, so that we'll all say his wife makes better coffee.
Oil jumps by more than $2 with the Suez Canal still blocked. Business at 56.
Now, I was not aware till half an hour ago. They did not try removing containers from this ship yet. Oh, if they can't get it loose today, they might have to start taking containers. Hello? I don't think you understand what you've done. Black guy just been a white girl knows what you've done. You have to tear that shit apart now. It's done. It's finished. It's a tin can crushed between some concrete. You're not fucking smart. And by the way, how the fuck does that happen?
Southbound on the 427 at the very end of the ramp to the westbound 401. We have a stalled truck there, so watch out for that. Just a minor delay. And another minor delay southbound on the 404 as you head past Major Mackenzie. Just south of Major Mac, you still have a vehicle in the ditch according to traffic spotters, so watch out for that.
So make it very simple. You can't lift that boat. If that boat needs to be lifted, you must take the weight off it first. It'll lift itself. If you didn't do that, there's nothing for you to push against to lift it. So whatever you did the last 3 days, complete waste. Complete waste.
20 times.
Oh, what's it mean? Everything you're gonna try to buy is gonna get more expensive because it doesn't matter.
Restrictions apply. See digital coupon for details. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Mainly cloudy now and quite windy. Winds out of the northwest, gusts up to 70, even 80 kilometers an hour this afternoon. And temps will continue to fall. So we're sitting at 7 now at Pearson. We had hit our guaranteed high of 10 degrees a little earlier through the morning hours. And now temps will just continue to fall as we tap into that colder wind. We're down to near 3 degrees through the overnight under mainly cloudy skies. Don't want to rule out the potential to see a few flurries later this evening. But if we see anything at all like that, very isolated.
It's a good temperature to kill off all these molds.
Your guaranteed high today is 10.
680 news time, 12:33.
2 straight days over 2,004 GTA regions in the triple digits.
Come on, John, you said you'd be here. I thought you white boys recorded. What's the word? Punctual is nothing else.
By the province, that's ahead of an announcement from Toronto's mayor in moments, followed by the premier in 30 minutes.
680's Bubba Qureshi joins us live with a look at today's numbers and more in a moment. Alex, we're just waiting for the mayor to walk up to this podium to have the word to get vaccinated.
Your mouth without actually doing it, bro. That was a disgusting sound.
That to be the focus of this news conference from the mayor, Dr. Davila, and Chief Peg. That wasn't scheduled as of yesterday, but it is of today. To talk about
it wasn't
getting
scheduled
people
this
vaccinated.
morning.
There will be 30,000 appointments available from the city of Toronto as of next week. So if you are eligible and you live in Toronto and you're over 75 years old, to call the number, go through the website and get yourself an appointment to get vaccinated. Now we'll be hearing from the premier. He'll be out in Brampton at 1 o'clock.
They're trying to make us feel bad.
As well.
Remember, they don't get radio at all in the jail here. They're trying to make us feel bad because me, that isn't us, in jail won't get the fucking shot. Oh, they tried running the whole emotional guilt trip thing. It's like, dude, those people can't hear you. You're fucking stupid.
Is Toronto's medical officer of health, Dr. Eileen Davila, and Toronto Fire Chief and the general manager of the Office of Emergency Management, Matthew Peg. Tori?
Well, Brad, thank you and good afternoon. And I am very pleased to be joined by Dr. Davila.
Don't copy Rob Ford. I'll fucking stab you today.
Today, on behalf of our team Toronto is very
You've been watching him on fucking YouTube, haven't you?
The city and its healthcare partners have so far administered 436,443 doses of vaccine. So that's 436,400.
Oh, so 10% of the people in the general population.
But we have a long
37% of the people in jail got it. I'm supposed to feel better. I should go get it. You fucking idiots. There's these fucking Asians that spread it to all the kids in the daycare. It doesn't matter. That's not your name. Your name is something else, and you don't have a phone number. Wow. I had variants. I didn't know that. None of you knew that on December 1st.
And we aren't going to stop until everyone that
That's the people that had me screaming in the fucking daycare because they wouldn't write down what I said. They kept telling me who I am. So if it broke out there, that's why.
We're vaccinating thousands of people a day in the city, but we now have the capacity for more, and we need you to use that capacity.
What kind of Asian? Go ahead and call me racist. What kind of Asian was it? Oh dear, you're not going to like these answers.
1,350 people per day. Starting Monday, we'll be able to vaccinate 6,300 people per day.
White people. If I repeat the mathematics really loudly, they won't do the math.
We have almost 30,000 appointments available.
It's going to take 15 years to vaccinate the city of Toronto, according to what this idiot just said.
We need you to sign up to use those appointments, and it will be good for you and for your family.
I thought this was important. Well, you get to listen to nothing for half an hour then, I guess.
As to how you can sign up, I'll repeat it in just a moment, but it is from everything we've
I would have gone and got food. When I would have got sick, I went downstairs to do my job. I still almost killed somebody. It's okay. I eat the broken one so you don't have to.
I shot bangs loud like a pistol. One bullet turn a nigga to a pistol. Mind's not stable, body's not able to hold it. So I ease down with the potion. Hit you with the hypno, I turn right open. Nobody slap, slapping in a full track. Heads wide open, girls still smoking. It don't get close when we're in motion. From the day I got my flow, it got stolen. Drunk niggas, drunk niggas, hate is the omen. Keep them wide open, cushion out for this. Live niggas riding up 7 in the morning. Catch a Riley on it. Walk right on it, lock him out his legs is late, and it's shorted. They don't got stripes cause they
So the technical meaning of the term frustrated, that's it right here. Now my feelings is, you want to know what pisses people off the most? That I'm here right now doing this. These assholes have been trying for years to fuck with me for no particularly good reason, and they're racist, prejudiced pieces of shit. They keep picking and choosing who they're going to hurt based on what someone looks like. They get scared and mad and try to run away when they find out who we are. I'm supposed to be upset that they're upset. Wow.
People 75 plus and 80 plus will also.
Il veut se comparer à monsieur autour, bien sûr.
Les filtres ont disparu.
J'ai effacé nos photos, effacé nos DM, mais votre monde dire c'est mieux que de forum.
Je sais qu'on s'écoute moins, qu'on se parle plus. Comme un coup de poing, quand tu me laisses en vue. Sur mon Insta, les filtres ont disparu.
J'ai effacé nos photos, effacé nos DM, mais votre monde dire c'est mieux que de forum.
C'est une parution récente, hein? C'est Élie Rose. J'ai su ça la semaine dernière. Élie Rose, québécoise. Kemler, rappeur français qui s'installe présentement dans le rap d'expression franco depuis quelques années.
You know, who's listening, and basically we take that and you break it down into a bunch of statistics and a bunch of numbers. And this is what I'll tell you, is
they say racist, horrible things, so you will email them and call them. You waste your energy thinking you're getting somewhere,
that you're number one in.
and they just want to. They just want communication that they can show to the advertisers, the auditors. They're supposed to be a third party to justify what they charge for advertising.
You know, in guys, you know, 50 to 53.
I don't call them.
Who are?
I call you guys.
Who have terrible psoriasis.
Notice when I stop calling in each day,
that's me.
They'll say 10 different fucking bullshit racist things in a row all day long.
And then I just put a statement that says, you know, the Alan Carter radio program.
And they act, what's the word? Aloof's not the word. Detached. They act like it doesn't really matter. Like I'm dumb for taking it serious.
The third wave, so-called third wave.
So-called third wave.
People to get vaccinated.
It's the British variant. It's the so-called third wave.
That is your most useful contribution that you can make on the front lines. Not in months or in weeks, but now.
Hey, John,
this is a battle that
your political career is going to go like this because you're fucking stupid.
We need your help signing up and persuading others and helping others to sign up, and we need that help now.
Hey, remember those tens and hundreds of millions of dollars you spent on capital upgrades, infrastructure, and expansion that you shouldn't have? Remember that, John?
First question will go to Beatrice Wyman from CP24. Just a reminder to please unmute yourself. Beatrice?
Good afternoon, Mayor or Dr. Davila. I'm happy to have either of you answer us. What do you think is going on? Clearly, like you said, we've got the vaccine.
What do you think is going on? Wow.
People now know how to register online.
Just like the Chinese government, women are allowed to be journalists and radio interviewers as long as they're stupid and only espouse the idea that women are stupid.
I think it will help us a lot. We have a bigger.
Here's the white knowledge,
which I understand is going to start on the part of the province next week.
You're gonna fucking die, bro. Horribly.
We've undertaken a big.
You thought Rob Ford had it bad with cancer. That killed him quick. You're gonna die so slow.
So in that sense,
hey, how's David Miller these days?
Aware of the increase in capacity, which was
remember me, David?
An increase in the
fucking child molesting piece of shit.
But I think a lot of this just has to do with psychology.
White supremacists, blonde hair, blue-eyed area.
We come out and talk with people about this is a spike up for a few days and then it tails off again. And I think that people are waiting for a variety of different reasons. Some people told researchers in the beginning they would wait.
He's what would be considered of lesser blood in UK.
What we have to do now is
so he'll be more socially acceptable to us.
Which we have
He's the low class of the white supremacists. He's at the bottom of the pyramid. The pyramid rests on what's on the bottom.
And continue to adapt and make the efforts that we're making specifically, for example, with the over 80 populations, which we continue to do. We are looking at all kinds of things that are presently underway.
The smallest cohort in the country, they can't manage it. The people that are the least mobile and easiest to find.
Seniors and where we know their age range, to make sure that effort continues as well. But our job is to keep these clinics going and to keep every appointment booked.
You can't fucking convince your fucking people to do math properly.
Maybe a more adept medical explanation or psychological explanation that the doctor can offer, and I'll offer it.
Today we're doing people 64 and up. Okay, I'm 64. Yeah, but you've only been 64 a couple months, but you don't understand.
Mr. Mayor, and I would say that the mayor has addressed many of the points. What I can add further, though, is that I think we can tell stories about how successful vaccination is.
Stories, and I guarantee she's like pretending to smile with her eyes.
Campaign. When I look
These sociopaths, this is a sociopath last week.
There hasn't been a single death
Overemphasize your facial, but the part of your face that's not covered. It's just your eyes. It's the only part of your face that's not covered. It's the only part you use in face-to-face contact, unless you're child molesting, pathological, psychopathic, sociopathic.
So there's a lot of good news stories to talk about here
with vaccination. Then you stare at the person's mouth, and those are the people having problems here. These are people that will walk up and blow their words into your eyes. They think you're a sociopath too. They think when you don't empathize with them because they're sociopaths, it's because they aren't breathing in your face enough.
Doctors, lots of people that you can consult with if you want to find out more information about the benefit of vaccine. And I would just encourage people to take advantage of this amazing intervention that's here, that will effectively protect you and protect everybody around you.
Your vaccine that you need us to take so you don't get sick. Tell us again how the virus has this attitude and it's creeping up and it's going to come back and get us.
Position on CP24 this afternoon, and he essentially says that the color-coded framework does not work in hot zones like here in Toronto, and that we can't be talking about opening when things are seemingly getting worse. Also, he adds that the vaccines were not distributed properly, and I know that that's under the provincial purview, but he suggests they need to be redistributed from regions that are not in as much need and given to hot zones in Toronto and Peel. What do you say to that approach, Doctor? Should vaccines have gone to hot zones like Toronto first?
Well, I think when we look at the available clients, certainly making sure that vaccine is getting to those who are most at risk in respect of serious outcomes associated with COVID-19 infection, that's priority number one. And in fact, that's what we've seen. We've seen long-term care homes and retirement homes.
We know that blah, 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 blah. And in fact, that's what we've actually seen. Did you hear her do that? Did you hear her do that?
We're seeing the benefit of that, and I think that's incredible. We're also aiming at those older populations.
Not only am I telling you the gospel truth,
and then going
actually, it is true.
Age categories over time.
You're not very good at deceiving the public.
I would also say that there is science that supports, focusing vaccine efforts in those places where there is COVID-19 activity or elevated COVID-19 activity. The science certainly supports that.
No, you said there is science that supports that. The science means you're referencing the fact that you just said there is science. There's an unknown quantity of science behind this.
Continue to practice those measures for self-protection. Maintain that distance. Use that well-fitting mask in those instances where you
You're telling us, how come us white people constantly running through neighborhoods they don't live in, running off on people they don't know, thinking they won't get fucking stabbed? How come I have to tell you I will stab you?
It's the combination of these public health measures and vaccine that will see us through and get us to the other side of this pandemic.
Shove your badge up your ass and eat your guard.
Go next to
Because I scream.
CTV News. Beth?
Get closer, because I won't stab you for that pussy.
Mayor, with the rise of variants and
That's
their
not a
risk,
threat, is it, Your Honor?
Mayor, you talked about this being a marathon race. How do we catch up? How do we get ahead of these variants to make sure that more
Again,
people
using euphemisms
are
you don't
protected?
understand.
So why don't I start off,
marathon.
and then I'll give the mayor a chance to add anything further. And I think
Every guy
what
ran
you're
too far, fell
the
down, and
mayor
died.
describe as the many actions
Did
that
not
we're
accomplish
undertaking as a
anything.
city are exactly the kinds of things that are needed in order to ensure that vaccines are being distributed effectively and in a timely fashion, so that we can actually offer
that effective
What do you mean
protection to
timely?
as many people as possible, as quickly as possible.
When you're
So
fucking up
certainly
bad
we
at
know
something,
that having a
repeating what it
broad
is
range of
not a good
clinic
idea.
opportunities, mass immunization clinics, clinics in hospitals, in
In
many
32
different
years,
locations,
we'll have
and
enough for
having
everybody to
several
get their
different
first
access points,
dose.
whether we're
Okay.
talking about
And after that, we're all
pharmacy
going to get vaccinated
or primary
6
care
fucking
or,
times.
mass immunization clinics run by
Less
the
than a
city.
third of people are
These
getting
are
it.
the, having a wide variety of options available is certainly part
There's
and
enough
parcel
vaccine for all the people that
getting as
want
many
it to get 15
vaccines
of
out
them.
there as quickly as possible. As well, there are a number of other supports
And
that have
again,
been put
I'm
into
not
place
randomly
to help
grasping the number
facilitate
15.
access, whether
That's
we're
what
talking
the
about
math comes up to.
transportation
So again, that
endeavors,
keeps
or
coming
we're
up.
talking about having our colleagues at Toronto
You
Public
hate that
Library
too.
call
Pussies
out to their
make up
senior
things to warship
clients and
fly
people that
flags
they
above.
know to ensure that they're aware of how they can get access to vaccine and how to properly go about booking those appointments. I think it's this range of different services and supports that actually moves us closer and closer towards the goal that you've just described. Mr. Mayor?
I just want to follow up on what Dr. Villa was just saying there, because I think if you add up all the things we're doing, and there's more to
You
come,
completely left out the V.
we are doing everything we can to stimulate the demand and to make sure that when the demand is there, we can meet it. And the very point of my coming forward today and of our having advocated to the province and thank them, I thank them very much for the fact that they have agreed to let Toronto move down to 70, is so that we can make sure the demand is there to use every one of these appointments, every one of them without fail, to get somebody vaccinated, because every vaccination is a good one, no matter who receives it. We want to make sure we continue to work at the senior population in particular, but we are offering transportation programs we announced earlier in the week.
You already played with the semantics of the words. Every vaccine is a good one, no matter who gets it.
We are going to commence advertising this weekend, and the province will soon follow next week. We are likely to make telephone broadcasts to people to
remember the people that they're saying must get it. All the people that they can basically force into getting it, which they've been doing, and that didn't work. You have fully vaccinated long-term care homes, all the staff, all the people, 100% still have outbreaks, which means not just a case, it means 2 cases that are connected.
We've indicated, I certainly did.
You have 1 case, or if you have 2 that aren't connected, it's not an outbreak.
That we have the capacity to do more on a daily basis as soon as we can be assured that the supply is available.
All those people that you can push around.
That this had to reach, ultimately, our wish would be to have it reach 3 million people, which is the number of people we're responsible for.
No, it's 5.5. Oh, you don't have to like it. There's 2.8 in the population, so I don't know where he gets 3 million. There's 5.5 in the census area, which means they spend every fucking day in the city, dumbass, which means public health deals with these people. This is how you have data banks with 50 million people in it. There's only 1 million people here.
We, from the outset, have planned and have plans in place for the expansion of city-operated clinics, and that includes the operating hours and the parameters and timeframes for those clinics. At this point in time, there are appointments available every day in each clinic, absent of having to expand those hours. So, as the mayor
this shit
said,
opened on Monday. It's Friday. You still have appointments open. Wow.
And
remember when they started only go to the website on Monday if you're this age, on Thursday if you're this age, because the website gives a fuck about that.
Or call the number.
The most robust computers in the world, Government of Canada,
when we get
web
to the
servers.
point where we have all 9 of our clinics, in addition to our partner-operated clinics,
Go
operating
try to
at
take
full
that site down
capacity,
all you want. All you'll do is get shot.
I long for the day. I look forward. I'm hoping that next week we can stand here and say that we are fully booked. There is no availability, and we're ready to expand. When that happens, we're absolutely ready and have plans in place to bring back to the Immunization Task Force Command Team opportunities for expansion. But at this point, we are still bringing additional clinics online, 2 more on Monday. That makes 5 city-operated plus the partner clinic at Thorncliffe Park with very, very short.
Hey, what
order
about the 2,000 plastic water bottles, the ones that would have clogged up the sewers? Hey, what are you doing now? You're cleaning catch basins on the 401.
If the demand continues to drive, additional hours, I would be.
How do those get clogged up?
To take it to Mayor Tory and our command team for consideration for expansion.
Thank you, Chief. We'll go next to Mark Carpusel from.
You think I make that up? Maybe we don't see them do it in our neighborhoods. They're not doing it on the highway. You people leave ladders, furniture, mattresses, swimming pools, boxes, shovels, all over the roads.
Or if you're on the phone, star 66 will help you on.
You never hear them call in and report it themselves, eh? Hey, I just lost my ladder. You better tell me. You never hear that, ever.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. My question mainly, I guess, for Dr. DeVilla, but anyone who wants to weigh in, feel free. There's no doubt that personal care services have had it really tough during this. Many of them haven't been able to work legitimately since December. There
So you know this
some
is natural.
speculation, probably some hope too, that at the provincial level, restrictions will be eased sometime soon to the point where they can at least cut hair, do nails, whatever the case may be, outside.
It better be Friday. If I find out it's Thursday, I'm going to be very upset.
You have any thoughts on that possibility?
Well, that is still news to me, so I'll be interested to hearing about whether the speculation becomes reality. But I will say this. We do know that in general, activities that are conducted outside are lower risk in terms of COVID-19 transmission. But that doesn't mean that there's zero
This bitch
risk.
wasn't here to see
So I think that
New Year's
we
for
are
like 99 and 2000.
looking at our current circumstances as we always do, and recognizing that as the weather improves,
You don't understand the way the city of Toronto's set up. It's not like any other city.
utilize outdoor space.
5 million people. If they all stay in their houses, you walk around, it is a ghost
Get
town.
some of the activities and services that they're used to having and that we miss in safer environments. So
Can you
I think
answer
it's
his
certainly
fucking
worth,
question?
looking
But I
at
will
see
say
some
this. I
details,
will
just
say
remind
this.
people that while
She
outdoor
practices in the
activities
mirror
are
over and over,
certainly
staring at her
lower
own mouth.
relative to activities and interactions that happen within indoor
She's a
settings,
sociopath.
it doesn't
The
mean that
psychiatrist
there's
I
no
had is
risk.
schizophrenic.
So
This woman is a
continued
sociopath.
vigilance with
Or
respect to those measures
psychopath.
for
My bad.
self-protection,
Psychopath.
maintaining distance to the
A
greatest extent
sociopath's
possible,
different.
wearing
There
a
are lots of
well-fitting
psychopaths that are
mask,
essentially
for those
harmless.
occasions where you do need to be out and about and perhaps interacting or have the potential to interact with others. These continue to be the mainstays of our, toolkit to prevent transmission of
Your mother must have been
COVID-19,
horrible.
and as well, of course,
You need to
getting
turn out this
vaccine
way.
when your turn becomes available.
No, I know, and I'm one that can comment on that. My mom was horrible, and I still came out all right. You people have no excuse. I don't feel no sympathy for none of you people. And when I say horrible, she still did a lot of shit right too.
Maybe at the municipal level, is that something that's come up in your discussions?
Fuck around in the worst ways.
At
You
the municipal
people
level, and I know the mayor will echo this, we're constantly talking about what opportunities
Echo,
there
'cause
are
you
on the
said
go
it first.
forward. And you've probably heard me say this at previous press conferences, that, as
They
we
can't
start
say someone
to,
else is in agreement with them.
implement
Let's say that person's
vaccine and get
copying them.
vaccine further
They
deployed
thought it up
and
first.
start to imagine life after the pandemic,
But
or
people
as
always
we
like
get
that. That's why you
closer
don't
and
have to fight
closer
them
to
too
that
much. Let them
end,
fight each other.
it is, I think, really important that we all engage in these discussions around how do you affect as safe a possible reopening for all services
Effect.
and all activities,
E-F-F-E-C-T,
so
you
that we
fucking
can start to
retard.
restore,
Effect.
the various activities and services and businesses and the, all the different aspects of life in the city. So this is the kind of conversation that we have, on a daily basis. Of course, right now, there's a lot of emphasis on the vaccination efforts and that which is
Using the
happening
word
in our mass
emphasis. Notice how she didn't use the word emphasis whatsoever. This was the conscious decision not to.
making sure that we're actively
You can say it now that she's not doing it.
how best to ensure that safer reopening
And
when the time
overemphasize
comes.
everything. Don't use the word emphasis.
Thank you.
Overemphasize everything. Don't use the word emphasis. She was taking courses or something, watching YouTube videos or something as to how to pretend to be
the provinces in the
a
midst of making at this
non-psychopath.
moment that indicates some degree of flexibility on some of these things. But again, our watchword has been on discussions we do indeed have every single day has been caution with regard to this because of the numbers that we see and because of the threat posed by the variances. But as well, it is equally important that we emphasize the message we're emphasizing today, which for people to get vaccinated.
How would you
Because in the
describe
end,
that?
yes, we have to continue to be vigilant. Even after getting vaccinated, you have to be vigilant about wearing a mask.
All those little low and high spots in the road are variances in the grade.
Because we're still working the number.
We're not
of those who are
variants.
getting vaccinated, but we have that as an
And
equally
these
important
flu
priority to
viruses
what could
or
continue
whatever
to be and should continue to be a
are not
cautious
variants.
reopening, cautious so that we can keep the health situation in control.
I was in an
Cautious so
excellent
that we
mood.
can
No,
avoid
I
ever
smoked
having
that last
another
joint knowing
lockdown.
I wake up being
Again,
all right.
that has
These
been an
people pissed me the
objective
fuck off. I would have saved it
discuss
in the
it
morning.
every single day
I can
from
do
every
that.
aspect you can imagine.
I think it makes for a shitty video.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll go next to Mark McAllister from City News. Mark?
But I could do that. We can try to
Thank you very much. Mayor, while you're at the podium, if you would. This has a sense of urgency, your message today. It's not just a, hey, we've got more appointments available, everybody
So
sign up,
brass
please.
looks like gold and they're
Something's
yellow.
wrong. Can you further that thought and why the sense of urgency? Is there a hesitancy out there within the population of Toronto or within this specific demographic?
It's interesting. I saw research from the beginning that said half the people were kind of, very much accepting of the fact they would go right away to have their vaccine.
They don't make them
very
like
few
this
questions
no more.
asked, and there were another large group of people who said they would want to wait and see. And
This has all been on here so long you can't get it up.
And I think
I actually
that,
straightened some of this up. Attempting to loosen
we were
it.
limited in our capacity at the beginning by the lack of
brass.
supply. And I
That's
think
not
now we have to
aluminum.
address those two
Your
things. And
pipe
say,
is
okay, time has
aluminum.
passed. We've had great success stories
No
like the
problem.
one outlined by Dr. Davila with respect to long-term
Although it must
care.
be said, plumbing
And so
fixtures
I
in
think the
Canada
evidence is there
are
that
allowed
this
to
is a
contain
safe,
12.5% lead
relatively
if
simple
they're labeled as
process to
brass.
go through the call center and the
So your expensive fucking taps and your remodeled house don't mean
the
shit to me.
clinics have worked very
It's
well. And I think
race
it's
to
more
the
a matter to
bottom
make
or
people aware of the fact that we have substantially ramped up our capacity because we now have new supply. And
they
that
just need
the
one person to
ramping up
Dutch
in that
disease.
capacity
They
has
just need
to
one
be
person
accompanied
after
by
another to
people
keep buying
responding
in.
to that
You're supposed to
and
fuck
coming
off and die
forward
afterwards.
and
Nobody
saying
hears you
it's time.
complain about the money you
And it's
lost.
time for themselves. It's time for their neighbors and their family.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's time for the overall war effort we have going on here, because this is a war on this virus and a war on these variants, and it's a war we're going to win. But it's one that, we have to keep at, and we have to keep at both sides of it. The public health guidance and the safe and cautious reopening of the city, but also a very aggressive effort to make sure people know that there are
polyester is
responses available
plastic.
and that they should step forward, hopefully,
You can't
and
wash
get
it
themselves
properly.
vaccinated
And
now,
you got it
as
layered
opposed
up.
to waiting for some supposedly better time. There won't be a better time than now. There is no better time than now.
Thank you.
Your fancy 25 use masks
earlier in the
end
week,
up in the
Chief
same gutter as
you had mentioned
you might as well have been washing the little blue ones.
you dealt with those issues at the clinics in terms of lineups and other inefficiencies. Perhaps
And there's
it was a
virtue
case
signaling.
of
Where's the mask? Where's the mask? You got
seeing
people
and
wearing
maybe
dirty
not
masks
wanting
inside out and
to
shit.
sign up right away because
And the people working the store won't say nothing to those people.
Mark, I
They're touching
don't
everything.
really know whether that's a fact. We were very transparent on Monday and on Tuesday moving forward, and I honestly don't think I could be any more clear than I was.
And you've been listening to the City of Toronto COVID-19 update.
We were.
Mayor John Tory asking people if you qualify, sign up for your vaccine.
In
They
her
have
defense,
supply
they're
in the
required to
clinics.
do this
Now
twice
they
an
need people
hour.
to roll up their sleeves.
And they don't
3,000
always.
appointments in the coming week. Tory says
They
the
don't
age
always
is being
interrupt
reduced
the
to
meeting.
70 starting at 8 tomorrow morning.
And the premiere is supposed to be coming on next, like now.
Breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News. This is Friday, March 26th. Good afternoon. I'm Alex Bloomfield.
And I'm Irene Preckler. Here's what's making news this hour.
Province is making several adjustments to the gray zone, allowing for outdoor fitness classes
Je
on
m'appelle
Monday,
vendredi
indoor
noir.
haircuts
That's
as soon as
good.
April 12th.
Vendredi soir.
Starting tomorrow, Toronto will begin booking vaccine appointments for anybody 70 years of age or older. It comes as the mayor urges people to book their vaccination appointments.
Hamilton is the latest
of metal.
region set to enter the gray zone
Piece
effective
of metal.
Monday.
Shit. There it is.
And starting tomorrow morning, those Toronto residents 70 and older will be eligible to book an appointment. The city saying again 30,000 appointments were available as of today at those
Wow.
Leafs taking
So it's going to take 15 years to do the whole city, but there's 30,000 fucking empty fucking
against the Suns.
things
Sports
right
at
now. Oh,
15.
why won't that come on?
Investors buying stocks to end the week. We've got oil higher today, but lower
Yeah, me
this
too.
week.
I'm getting higher
And
up oil
Bank
too.
holds on to
You
the top
can't see
spot.
much. 'Cause of the-
Business at 26.
There's a little glob on the end of
News
that.
time 101.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Frunskis.
This report is brought to you by the Gloucester on Yonge. And we have a problem on the eastbound
Where Where's the premier? You're not the premier.
In the express, the right lane is blocked here because of a collision, and we have a couple of vehicles on the left shoulder as well. Just tow trucks on the scene so far.
The people didn't elect you premier. Where the hell is the premier? Always refer back to what the people asked for, not
Now
yourself.
it's getting really jammed up from just east of the Allen.
No, because they like to play sound clips in the media, and then you get the U.S. flight in the bomb your little country.
Before they
It's not
fill in. Now you're going to find a slow go on the eastbound QEW. We had an earlier problem east of 3rd line, so it's still busy from Appleby to 3rd, and then delays again from Trafalgar to 4th Drive. Eastbound on the Gardner, approaching Islington and the Collectors. The right lane is blocked because of a collision. The ramp to Islington, that's closed as well.
White background,
So
damn
slow
it.
go on the eastbound Gardner from Kipling to Islington in the Collectors. The express lanes are moving well.
I'm a thorough street
Northbound on the Don
sleeper
Valley
for
Parkway,
real.
that's busy with volume from Don Mills to north
Please
of
come off the
Lawrence.
street
And
sleepers.
westbound on the Gardner, approaching the
You can
427.
use them to unjam point mechanisms too. Which happen to also be municipal
Located in a
purview.
prime
Go figure.
downtown location along Yonge Street with direct access to the subway. The Gloucester
I'm not like
on Yonge is
officially a part of the
Concord's latest
311
condo
crew, but
project.
I roll
Visit
with them niggas, you know.
thegloucesteronyoung.com for more info. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
John, for the most part here in the GTA, it's all
John.
about those winds, strong and gusty out of the northwest.
Hold on, did you catch the wrong person that threw it to you, or did I hear you wrong and you said Don? I'm gonna pretend you said Don. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt exactly once, because I fucking hate you.
Incredible weather.
And that
Sadly,
skews
has
my
come to an end,
judgment.
but it was good while it lasted. We're going to be a little bit cooler than we have been for the weekend, but still slightly above seasonal highs here, about 9-10 degrees. And then by Sunday night, we will dip down to near -5. Your overnight low tonight near 2 degrees. Your guaranteed high reached this morning.
You better not
10
kill my
degrees.
grape.
680 News Time 103.
Big breaking news from the province, where the Ford government has announced changes to the gray lockdown level of
Hey,
the framework. The changes
asshole,
will allow
they're doing it right
business
now.
premises to open on Monday. It also gets rid of the 50 cap on outdoor religious services, funerals, and weddings. Also, as of Monday, the new cap will just be as many people who can maintain physical distancing as possible. Then on April 12th, personal care services, including barber shops, hair and nail salons, as well as tattoo parlors, body art establishments, will be permitted to operate at limited capacities. That would be indoors starting April 12th in gray zones. The province also announcing that Hamilton will move into the gray lockdown level as of Monday. We're expecting to hear from the premier when he speaks from Brampton any minute now.
Yeah,
And
he's
as
in
you heard
Browntown.
live here on
Where they
680
build the
News,
Chargers and
Toronto seniors
Challengers.
70 or older will be eligible
You take
to
your
book an
mask
appointment
off, you get
for
a $100,000
vaccine
fine.
starting tomorrow. 680's Melvin Qureshi joins us live with the latest on that and a plea from the mayor, Melvin.
Yeah, that's right, Irene. The mayor standing in front of a sign that's with the words written in bold capital letters, "Get vaccinated," urging people to book
Hey,
their appointments.
I'm not saying don't do something about Asian-based racism. Could you stop pretending you're doing something just to try to stoke the fires of racism you think exists between blacks and Chinese? Which doesn't, at least not in this country. It doesn't in this country. These idiots watch American TV all day talking to Bruce Streak about what Canadians need to do for Canadian culture.
So anybody 70 years of age,
Of course, you know, of course, you know.
beginning tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. The city does have 3 clinics, city run, plus 1 more from a partner.
If I had more stereotypically black teachers, I couldn't get away with making fun of white people the way I do. I couldn't. They would just call me outright racist. I do this, and they eventually come up with the word racist, but they can't make it stick.
Urgency in his voice that please go out and book your appointment. It's the best thing you can do to protect yourself and to protect people around you. So starting tomorrow morning, if you're over 70 years of age or older, you can book your
Not spitting at people for the color of this for any reason would be the number one thing you should do. Hey, how come every bus, every school bus, every TTC bus has every window slammed shut and the vents and the roof closed? Why? When you get on a bus, you're wearing all the fucking clothes you could possibly wear. Maximum number of layers.
The site opens Monday for residents 70 and
Don't
older.
talk shit about air conditioning. The AC ain't on those buses anyway. You know that.
As many as 1,600 shots a day.
The group that represents Ontario's English public school boards is calling on the province to vaccinate education workers against COVID-19 over the upcoming spring break. The Ontario Public School Board Association says
remember when you didn't want to do an English test or a math test to become a teacher here? Here's why we wanted you to do that math test. It's not possible to vaccinate you all the time period you just gave.
It will not get done, period. It's not mathematically possible.
Gives the province the perfect opportunity to make a difference this school year. She made the request in a letter to Education Minister.
And when we say
Stephen
we have
Lecce
enough
yesterday and said
doses
she
to
is yet
vaccinate
to hear
everybody
back.
5 times, and that's not a joke. It's not 5 doses, 10 single doses, or I guess it's 8 single doses, and the J&J fucking.
The province says nearly 83,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines were administered in the latest period. That is a single day.
They have not mentioned once about people getting injured in their sinuses from idiots doing the test wrong. And even the results of the test depend on the technique of the swabber. You didn't know that, did you? You thought you tested negative. By the way, if I go, there's enough on the wall over there to test.
A rise of 30% from just 2 weeks ago. This is driven by
Almost
more
lost my
contagious
train of
variants.
thought.
And happening now, we go live to Premier Ford in Brampton.
So what I basically did was removed all the green stuff and compacted it down.
And my friends, it's just so great.
Hey, he's a quitter. He's a quitter.
Of Brampton today, and I just love the people here. And I always say it, but I have to say it again.
You know what they say, you might get the pension, but you never really retire.
Four of my girls, or all my girls, were born at William Osler, so there's a close connection.
Really?
And this is a phenomenal
I smoked
city.
dope on Osler.
And Mayor,
Next to
you're
the
doing an
police station.
incredible job here.
You stay in there, pussies!
This city is
Oh, you dare come out!
thriving.
That's right, I told you. Then I leave real fast.
Absolutely anywhere in Canada. You're right, Mayor. I remember when we talked on the phone, and
No, the joke of that is the fact that they won't come out of the police station for any reason right now. No reason whatsoever will they come out of the police station. No, it's an interesting situation because the cops you see attempting to do their job,
you have to get around this big belly.
you can tell them
You
right
can
now.
tell the other side of the story, but anyways, thank you, Mayor. But one issue has gone on for far too long. One critical challenge has held this great city
Oh,
back.
that's the other thing these white people always want to do. They keep saying, oh, he hates the cops. He's anti-police. He hates the cops. I don't think you get
the
it.
last provincial Liberal government, supported by the NDP,
I'll stand right in front of the cops, smoking weed and selling dope all day. I don't give a fuck about the
they
cops.
heard you screaming.
White people hate the police. They hate the fact that anybody could dare tell them what they're not allowed to do. Even if it's a white cop.
They
Wow.
gave you a day clinic and told you it was all you needed. And folks,
I'm sure that police uniform gets you a different type, but just as much prejudice as black skin does, but in a different way.
there, you deserve better.
You
Well,
know,
today,
these white people, like,
all
you're a
that
public
is
servant.
over.
You
It's
owe
done,
me.
it's gone, because today we're taking action. We're delivering.
I'll speed if I want to, because I'm paying your, you know what, fuck off.
Other governments have failed. This is a great day for everyone.
I'm surprised
here
more
in
traffic
Brampton
cops
and throughout
don't
the
fucking
region.
shoot drivers at
Because
speed
as sure
traps.
as I'm standing here today, we're building a new hospital for the people of Brampton. This hospital will include
No, you're not.
250
None of these
patient
hospitals are
beds.
new, by the way.
It will
We needed
include
them
a
30 years ago.
24/7 emergency department.
By the way,
This will be
you
an
haven't
amazing
managed the
state-of-the-art
overspending of all these hospitals that already exist.
The new hospital. This
Oh, since this is the Union of Socialist Canadian Provinces, this is all capitalist. People own these hospitals and their businesses, and they make money off
with
them.
the amazing growth in this area.
Wow.
And I hope that one day
I
we will
don't
have
need this much
doctors
tobacco, but I need
working in
something to
this
hold this paper
hospital
up.
who are trained
Holes in
at
this
the
shit.
new medical
Not gonna
school
work. It'll work.
right here in Brampton. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Right here
Medical
in Brampton.
students being taught right here in Brampton.
Oh,
and then
you're in
move
Brampton
on to an
now?
incredible,
Really?
New hospital. Because as part
So
of
I'm
this
sorry, buddy. I
project,
just brought you two
we've also
completely empty
funded a
news
proposal
conferences,
by
hoping
Wright
maybe the
University,
media would
Robertson
get something interesting
University to study
out there to us. But
feasibility
nope.
of a new medical school here in Brampton, which I think would be absolutely fantastic.
You're an idiot.
And I'll be back here in Brampton.
Hey, remember
soon
when they
to
rubber
announce
stamped
the
past
details
everybody
of
in
that
medical
project.
school last year? Oh.
And I'm doing this because I believe in the people in Brampton. I believe in the people right across this region of Peel and my friends.
So if you don't remember, Patrick Brown got accused falsely of doing things to women he did not do. We know he didn't do because the story doesn't make any sense at all. And people are describing the inside of his house. Yeah, then he threw me in here and slammed the door. And like the next day, the guy's like, my house doesn't have any doors whatsoever inside of it.
The 2021 budget
Yeah, a real simple detail.
additional
So the Conservative Party of Ontario decided not to back Patrick Brown as leader anymore. But that's okay, because they probably wouldn't have won the election. Not because of Mr. Brown, just the Conservatives wouldn't have won. Dougie gets talked into running, essentially. And
this existing day clinic into a 24/7
he won
urgent
that.
care center.
Then we win the election, and then Patrick Brown becomes the mayor of Brampton.
And we're not waiting.
So
We're moving at
Mr. Brown, Mr. Mayor Brown, is the mayor of Browntown.
in 2023, and I can't wait to be here with the shovels.
And the Prime Minister dances around in brown face.
Because keeping
Oh,
Ontarians safe
but you thought Patrick Brown was the bad guy, Trudeau's the good guy. That's what you thought. That's what you thought.
On Wednesday, my finance minister, Peter Bethenvaldi, delivered
I didn't
the
clean half of that.
2021 Ontario budget. This budget is all about what is most important right now, protecting people's health.
See the brass
and
underneath?
protecting the
I didn't
economy.
get half of it.
We're investing $16.3 billion to protect
You gotta
people's
watch the
health.
threads get all fucked up. Yeah, there's threads. It's a threaded bowl.
In addition to that, we're investing another
I don't have the cap.
$23.3 billion to protect our
There's a
economy.
cap with a little tiny
Our
hole.
COVID-19 action
You're on a
plan
little round
now
hug of weed.
totals
It'll spin around and roll around on the inside. The flame will coat the whole outside of the
As the
thing evenly.
vaccination rollout continues and Ontario turns the corner on the pandemic,
And then you don't get all the resin up in the threads at the top,
on
so all
its
stays in
plans
the
to
bottom.
create strong
I
economic
don't have
growth.
that part.
Until then, we will continue to do whatever it takes to keep people safe from this terrible virus. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Elliott.
Ontario.
Thank you, Premier. It's great to be here at Peel Memorial Centre for Integrated Health and Wellness. I would like to thank all of the staff and leadership at Peel Memorial and across
The city
OC
got kids. You're
for
not
your
from the city.
incredible efforts responding to the COVID-19
Incorporated in
pandemic
1889.
and for continuing
And West
to
Toronto
deliver
Junction was here
exceptional
before
care to the
1888.
residents of Brampton.
Bank of British North America,
Continues
Bank
to
of
take
Toronto.
action to address the challenges facing our healthcare system.
And this was a
Both as a
tax-free
result of
place.
COVID-19 and pre-existing capacity issues.
And
But long
apparently,
before any
a
of us
pocket
had
of
heard
liberalism.
COVID-19, our government committed to an ambitious goal, ending hallway healthcare.
Which is
As
not a
we have
thing.
seen more
You
than
committed
ever
to a
during
thing
the
that's not a thing.
pandemic, Ontario is home to the world's best doctors, nurses, and healthcare teams.
The
But for
nurses
decades,
only.
these world-class healthcare professionals were left
And
without
the
modern equipment.
PSWs in the hospital on the
Hospitals
psych ward
did
are
not have
okay.
access to the resources
The ones in the long-term care
and
homes,
patients
nope.
would have to wait until health centers opened to receive treatment.
I saw the
That's why,
ads you
since
put up
day
in the
one,
schools.
our government has committed to be a champion for the voices
You an
of
angry
patients in
drunk?
Brampton
You trying to drop
and
out and
across
still
the
have a
province
government
to fix our
job?
healthcare
Be a
system.
PSW. Nobody gives a fuck what you do.
Continue to deliver on that commitment by
Six of
announcing
these
that the
fucking
Ontario
things.
government is supporting the transformation
One that has a list of all the jobs you used to be able to
into a
get.
new hospital.
Cannot be a plumber, cannot be a welder, cannot be a gas fitter, cannot be a steam fitter, cannot be a driver.
Services.
Well, I could be a PSW or 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 a PSW. What's that? PSW.
$1.5 to support plans to construct over 250
You wanted the pure garbage of society to be the PSWs. 20 years passes by, you're old now, and you're upset what you got.
The province is also providing up to $18 million in 2021-22 to expand Peel Memorial's Urgent Care Center into 24/7 operations, paving the way
You
for
couldn't even buy a
essential
kilometer of road
Peel
in
Memorial's
Serbia
transformation.
for $18 million. That's
These
true.
investments will ensure the people of Brampton have access to 24/7 hospital services,
Well, actually, that's 18 million US versus
including urgent
Canadian. So
care, complex continuing care,
22.5
enhanced
million.
mental health and rehabilitation for patients and their families. The people of Brampton deserve this investment in their health care, and we will be the government who delivers. This is part of the government's $3 billion
Yeah,
funding
that's what
increase
that government
in
was
healthcare
assigned to
infrastructure
do
as part of
100
the
and some odd years
2021
ago.
budget, to ensure hospitals have the tools and support they need to continue delivering quality care to our communities.
We will be the government that does that. You won the election 3 years ago, dumbass. Shut up.
To ensure communities across the province have the quality healthcare infrastructure they need.
Yeah, I
for
just echoed
generations
both
to
meanings
come.
of the word government.
As our government continues our work to
Oh,
build
our
a
government.
patient-centered, connected healthcare
You don't
system,
mean us, the
we will
people.
continue to work collaboratively with
You mean how
Ontario's
you own the
hospitals
province.
to ensure patients and families are provided with exceptional care across the province. I would now like to pass it over to our Associate Minister of Small Business and Red Tape Reduction and MVP for Brampton South, Pravneet Sarkaria. Thank you.
It's like Dragnet. No, that's a sound effect there. They go across the room from the mic to make it sound quieter. There was no, I guess, no volume control or input or something.
Incredible news. We've been fighting for this. For years, we've been advocating for this as residents of Brampton.
Bear in mind, they couldn't listen to it instantly and re-record it endlessly. They have to just get it done.
And it represents the moments when words became actions.
You're retarded. You let somebody else write your shit today, you dumbass.
Fulfilled for the hardworking families of our city. And when Premier Ford was able to accomplish in less than 3 years what 2 Liberal premiers couldn't do in 15 for the city of Brampton. I am a proud son of Brampton. I love my city. In many ways,
you're from
this
nowhere,
community
bro.
helped
Shut
shape the person I am today. But
keep
for all
them
that
chargers
we have
rolling
going
up
for
the
us in
line.
the city, for decades, our healthcare has failed to keep up with the needs of Brampton families. Our citizens have pleaded with government after government to deliver them from the nightmare of hallway healthcare. But time and again,
This was a made-up thing when they started saying
fell on
it.
deaf ears. And today, that all changes thanks to Premier Doug Ford. The people of Brampton have spoken, and our government has been listening. As we did when we first
Go walk through the hospitals for yourself, see what I'm talking about.
in the last campaign. Brampton will be forgotten no more. Our city will no longer be neglected.
You see the motivation
and our
idiots like
community
this?
is finally
You've been looking up to white people his whole life.
share.
I have to do something glorious. You're fucking stupid, bro. Shut up and talk about the issue at hand.
Strong leadership and for delivering for the hardworking families of this community.
All this is to rub shit in Patrick Brown's face. Doug Ford right now is giggling with his mask on. All this is to rub shit in Patrick Brown's face.
I'm proud to belong to a government that is putting Brampton first. And for the people of our community...
Then why you work for the province instead of the city, stupid?
Any government can say they stand with Brampton.
Brampton's a Peel region, right? Yeah, that's Peel region, right? You got Brampton Transit, you got Peel Regional Police, right?
No doubt that Brampton matters, that our families count, and that our city is finally getting our fair share. And I'd also like to thank my mayor, Patrick Brown, for his strong advocacy on this project, and for working with the premier.
All this is to rub shit. This guy's being allowed to babble his foolishness. Doug Ford can laugh at shit being rubbed in Patrick Brown's face.
For the work and partnership that is making today possible.
He dragged me to his house and slammed the door.
To Premier Ford for your
So CTV, I believe it was, had these women on, but disguised her identity, everything. Now there's 2 of them. So they counted as 2 sources, so therefore it's true, so therefore it doesn't need to be verified or investigated. They get any trouble at all for doing that? Nope.
And for this, we should all stand proud. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you to deliver for the greatest city in this province.
I bet you would also watch what happens. Oh, you have. Where are all those people now? Hi, Moses. Pussy. I told you wouldn't sell that garbage on my block. 43 years ago. Where the fuck are you now?
The provincial update. Premier Ford speaking a few minutes ago, announcing new funding for a hospital in Brampton. We also are expecting to hear him answer questions on changes.
You're still going to build it the exact same way with 4 people to a room and all this other shit.
Fitness classes allowed as of Monday, and things like personal care services allowed to open indoors, even in gray zones as of April 12th. Now back to this provincial update.
It was a historical day in the city of Brampton.
What did you interrupt us for? It's 20 minutes past the hour. You just talked over them to tell us what they're saying.
Of my constituents and all of Bramptonians and Ontarians.
Oh, a brown guy was talking and you had to talk over him.
Now I can proudly stand in front of you today and
Now, you may think the guy at 6'8" is also brown. He's Caucasian.
We'll now have
He's British as they call.
24/7 full-fledged hospital and not
The
just
white guy with the tan. Hey, if your skin gets darker when the sun comes out,
our city
mind
is
blown.
finally getting what it deserves. Not only are we taking care of the health of Bramptonians in the long term, but I'm also excited to be announcing that Premier Ford and the government of Ontario are investing in a Ryerson University Medical School right here in Brampton. I proudly look forward to the day that graduates of that medical school will be helping give Bramptonians and Ontarians the health care that they deserve. The health care that they deserve. Let us also not forget that Brampton is getting 2 new long-term care homes, Sri Guru Nanak Long-Term Care Home and the Indus Community Services Long-Term Care Home. These facilities will allow Brampton to give our residents
Right now,
the attention
the alert just went out.
that they deserve.
Of all the people out there to sign up for the jobs and everything, it'll be their parents and grandparents and elders in those homes. That'll work out.
In our government. I would
So
also like to
the
thank
people in
Mr.
Brampton
Elliott,
basically
Mayor
have
Brown,
money.
and the entire
I mean,
council
they're rich.
for their advocacy, and Dr. Mohammed
They own a house out there, not the house down here at 1.6 million. There's a difference, but
We'll go to the phone line for questions.
they've
Just
got
a
a
reminder,
community
it's one
there. You
question,
can't
one
build there.
follow-up. First question, please.
Graham Fritz, Brampton Guardian.
Graham, how you doing?
Good afternoon, guys. My first question would be related to sort of the opposition. They've been out on social media claiming that there's no hard figures in the budget, and I'm just curious what your response to that is.
You know, something, my response to that is ignore them because they don't know what's going on. Really, I'm just being frank. They had 15 years to do something, and they gave the people of Brampton a clinic that is open to, 8:30, 9 o'clock? Well, a message to them, healthcare continues 24/7. Not a little clinic.
unless you're a nigger and you get nothing. If you're an Indian, you get nothing and you pay cash for it.
Brampton, which we're just so excited. And again, I give all the
The
credit
province
to the team
reserve, the
behind me.
province reserves at the end of the city, at the end of the day, at the end of all this, to go back to the feds to build my reservations, my tribal government's trust account for all the health care they claim they
Let's
give
not
me.
forget Dr. Mohammed that has been dealing with this pandemic right from day one. And talk about champions. These guys are the champions right behind me. So I just ignore the squawking in the background, and we're going to focus.
Your doctor gets to decide when you should have made an appointment. They don't mention it to you at all when you're there.
Accomplish in 15 years.
They get the bill every time you should have made an appointment. He says you should have been there every month for the next 5 years. He gets paid every month for the next 5 years for visits you should have made. And I know this because I'll end up having to visit 5 doctors to get medical care. Because they're getting letters about 4 of them.
Are we picking up where we left off with the original plan, or is there a new plan being put in place moving forward?
Well, that's going to be time to sit down with Dr. Mohammed and the minister. They're going to be dealing with that. And I have all the confidence in the world that they're going to make the state-of-the-art hospital with 24 emergency care, and they're going to do an incredible job for the people here.
24 hours, 24 beds. What are you talking about?
Next question.
From Shaniva Maharaj at Global News.
Hi, Shelly. How you doing?
Thanks for taking my question. My first question comes to you from our colleagues over at Global News Radio. Now, this morning, Minister Fullerton has refused to answer whether the government was considering mandating LTC workers to get vaccinated.
Okay.
I'm looking to ask whether that is something the government is actually looking at.
I'll pass that over to the Minister of Health. Thank you.
Well, at this point, we're not mandating anyone to receive the vaccine. The vaccine is available for anyone
At this
who
point,
wants to
we reserve the
receive
right to tell you later. You already tried that 3 times in the past year.
everyone to receive
Hey, if
it.
you have
Whatever
long-term
vaccine
care
is
homes that are
available,
fully vaccinated
there are
and
4
still
vaccines
having
that are
outbreaks,
approved by Health
you
Canada,
cannot
by
make the
Massey,
case law
that are
either.
available, the Pfizer, Moderna,
Oh, there is a
AstraZeneca, and
cherry
the
here
J&J.
somewhere.
We don't have supplies of the J&J vaccine as yet, but they are all safe and they all work. So we are
No, they
really
don't.
strongly encouraging
They're not safe
everyone
and
to
they
receive
don't
the
work.
vaccine.
Follow-up? My next question, again, this would actually be for the health minister as well, is regarding the transformation of Peel Memorial to a new inpatient hospital. You talked about the construction schedule beginning as soon
What kind of
as
hospital
you
is it
can.
now?
But can you be any more specific on when shovels will actually go into the ground and what that timeline for completion is?
The Premier indicated
I remember being the Union of Socialist Canadian Provinces. It doesn't matter what they say. The way things happen day to day on the ground is however they want it to.
right now. And we look forward to working with Dr. Mohammed and his team to understand exactly what's necessary here and to get moving on it as quickly as possible because the people of Brampton deserve that.
Next question.
From the Tantoka at Prime Asia TV.
This is useless. They both wanted to jump on.
My question is
The province did this to fucking tell us nothing.
would it be right to say like opposition parties, they are giving misinformation?
John just having to get his voice on the fucking radio. Well, he's on Sportsnet every fucking day, but the press conference is on.
The second hospital Brampton was waiting since long. So why they are giving misinformation to the community? Thank you.
Ooh. They're politicians. Well, they're out there sending misinformation. I don't want to call them liars. They're just untruthful, that's all. But we saw that for 15 years. I'm not worrying about those guys. I don't give two hoots about them. We're focused on the task at hand. We're building a new hospital. It's going to be a beautiful, state-of-the-art hospital, 250 beds. For 15 years, people were asking for
Dougie, I need a brick of hat. Just joking. I can't smoke that shit.
We're turning the corner, so we're going to make sure we get shovels in the ground as quickly as possible. And I'm just so proud for the people here. They're hardworking, salt of the earth people. Like I said, I spent the first 5 years when Carla and I got married, raised 2 children here. 4 of them were born in William Osler. So we're proud of the great work that they do here.
Follow-up? Yes, I will follow up for Health Minister. Minister, there is a study came which says that anyone who was COVID infected, they just need a 1 shot of vaccine. Is that true, or they need 2 shots? Can you clarify on that?
He's not a medical.
Yes, we're still encouraging people to receive 2
That's
shots
not what he
of
asked you.
Pfizer,
That's
Moderna,
not
and
what he just
AstraZeneca.
asked you, you fucking
As you may
retard.
know, the J&J is just a 1 shot dose, but we haven't received them yet. We're still waiting to find out when we will receive a shipment and in what quantities. That will come from the federal government. But with the other 3 vaccines, they are everyone is recommended to receive 2 doses.
Next question.
From Christina
That's the
Howard,
question at
City
all.
News. Please go ahead.
Fauci answered that one better a month and a half ago.
Good afternoon, Premier. We're seeing an increased number in positive cases. We know that our ICU bed capacity is quickly being jeopardized. And yet, you're loosening restrictions in gray zones when it comes to, outdoor fitness classes, but even in a couple of weeks of allowing hair salons to reopen. Is this sort of a mixed messaging situation?
Well, I wouldn't call it mixed messaging. I'm very, very concerned. First of all, a message to the people of Ontario: do not let your guard down. Follow the protocols. Keep your distance. Wear a mask. Always wash your hands. It's absolutely critical. I'm always concerned. We should never ever let our guard down. But in saying that, there's through the chief medical officer and the local medical officers, we're loosening it up just a little bit, and to be outside to get fresh air. What I want people to do, is
The way to repeat the idea, though, it's outside, so therefore it's fresh.
critical. Don't be having people over. That's where the problem.
It's outside, so I don't have to wear a mask. It's outside, so the carbon dioxide will not make your lungs bleed. Buddy, you better step back. You're about to get stabbed.
Warms up. So we should all be on high alert. Absolutely high alert. But
Well, we are. We still got spit on by a white guy
I'm telling you, they're tired.
who worked for the next year, asymptomatic infected, before getting tested.
Do it very carefully. That's all we're asking.
Follow-up?
What, in terms of what's happening, though, in hospitals with ICU capacities, some physicians are saying that this may be the time that they have to start deciding who is getting critical care treatment and who is just being provided with palliative care treatment, and that they are getting very close to having to use their short-term mortality risk assessment to prioritize care for people that actually have a chance of being alive.
We're getting very close to having to do triage. Hey, when you come in the door, you've been triaged, stupid.
Well, that's a discussion that
Well, this is where they're supposed to interrupt and say what we're listening to. Not 10 minutes ago. But it was a brown guy talking. He's Asian, so we're going to talk right over him because he's gone. Where do your medical texts come from? Where do your medical texts go? Hello, Chomo. Hello. Hello, Chomo. Hello, Chomo. Where do your medical texts come from? Where do your medical texts come from? I'm going to keep repeating it. Where do your medical texts come from? I'm going to keep repeating it. Where do your medical texts come from? Every time I point out how racist you are, you want to dummy my signal and act like, oh, see what he said? Yeah, play 30 seconds beforehand and after, too, dumbass. What's it like up there, buddy? You got that uranium vent blowing in your window all day, you fucking nuthead.
Investments in hospitals with a 1.8 billion that we announced in the budget this week to over 5.1 billion. So we're still adding beds. We've added extra ICU capacity.
See what you just said. She says I'm more money. So we're still adding beds, but you didn't count beds. You counted dollars.
We will be able to deal with them, and we will be able to admit people to hospital.
We're going to hear all night and all weekend about taxpayers. The province will get their money from taxpayers. They borrow it on the open market. The feds create it out of thin air. The provinces borrow it on the open market. How do the feds have say over the provinces then?
Premier, it's no secret that Brampton has been neglected by the previous governments, and as a result, Brampton has been left without the resources needed to deal with this pandemic. While previous governments have forgotten us, Premier you, Minister Sekaria, and MPP Sandhu have finally delivered hope to Bramptonians. My question is simple. What has pushed your government to finally make Brampton a priority?
Well, I guess the difference between ourselves and previous governments, we listen to the people. And I always have that slogan, promises made, promises kept. And once we put a promise out there, we're going to fulfill the promise that we made.
But more importantly, buttons and stickers and signs and everything.
City in all of Canada. It's absolutely booming out of the great leadership of Mayor Brown, and it's going to continue to boom. And with that, you got to build the infrastructure, no matter if it's transit, roads, bridges, and one of the critical areas are healthcare and hospitals. And now we say we aren't just building hospitals across Ontario because there's great announcements right across.
Can you explain why we're putting more signals into the subway system? What was the other thing that broke down because it was new?
Toronto and the greater regions.
The signs on the roads, the signs of the highways, they were saying this before I signed on to it. They're giving bad information because they switched the province, switched over to a new system to send out their updates.
Future generations.
Follow up?
We need as many subway trains as possible in the tunnels. We need 2 of them in the tunnel, in between the 2 that are each station. Hey, you realize there's nowhere for air to come from if you stop in a tunnel?
I love the people of Brampton. I'll always have your back. I'll always support you.
The train stops. There's nothing moving air in and out of the tunnel.
We have a phenomenal relationship with the municipal government.
Oh, diggers need air. I forgot. Thanks, John.
2 great Brampton MPPs, but I'm going to be bold here.
So far, every issue the media picks up on, they didn't say shit till we said it here first. Overcrowded buses, all that shit. Only in the black neighborhoods, right?
A strong voice down at Queen's Park. So the next election, please vote for the PC government in the 3 other ridings. And I promise you, we won't let you down as we haven't let you down here. Can't wait for the Ryerson Medical School to get approved and build on that. When you just think, there's some young man or woman, or young boy or girl, actually, sitting at home watching this, that's going to end up at that medical school, become a doctor, and end up being here. And by that time, maybe Dr. Muhammad, he'll be relaxing, maybe up north with a cold margarita in his hand or something, and the future CEO of the hospital is watching.
If his name is Muhammad, don't ever make jokes about him drinking alcohol. He tells you himself he drinks it.
He's a little younger. I'm getting old here. But thank you. I appreciate that.
Last question.
Yeah. So we got the name Browntown because the brown people called it Browntown, just to be clear.
Hi, Premier. Thanks for taking the question. I have to ask about vaccine supply distribution. So we've been told it's a per capita basis. Ottawa makes up 7% of Ontario's population. So based on the number of vaccines we've received so far, these numbers provided by your government, we are only getting 5.7% of the share. My colleague in Kitchener crunched the numbers there. Waterloo Region appearing to be short 25,000 vaccines. So my question is, where is our supply going? Is it going to the GTA? And so why are we getting shorted our share of vaccines?
Yeah, no, very, very good question. This all goes back, and I'm as frustrated as they come. We're expecting some Moderna. We're supposed to get it this week. The 3rd time now, it's delayed. We're getting it sometime next week. The AstraZeneca that we were supposed to get out into the pharmacies, we don't even get a date. We don't have a clue. How can you plan when the feds aren't even giving us a date? If they could give us a date, we'd be able to expand the pharmacies right across the province. There's going to be a point next week, and actually there is right now, the pharmacies have run out. Shoppers Drug Mart, as the general just told me, they have 100,000 appointments. Like the feds need to, I've been very diplomatic and I've been very complimentary and collaborative with the federal government. Enough's enough. This is
That
becoming
comes back to Galen Weston
more vaccines.
and the comedian finding shrimp in his cereal. Coincidentally, the day before, Galen Weston's trying to sell his bakery.
We have the capacity. We have the infrastructure.
Jobless,
There's
PC, Shoppers Drug Mart.
82
Hey,
people vaccinated yesterday. We have hundreds of thousands of people waiting in line. And at the end of the day, they've dropped the ball.
They're self-admitted cartel.
And Mayor Watson,
they won't investigate or charge
he's a great
anybody.
mayor too. He's doing a great
Billions
job.
of dollars
I asked all the mayors, all the
off of
regions,
wheat. And that's the thing. If you're dumb enough to buy grains, you
walk
deserve
down the
to
street to the Parliament building, start banging down the door. This is the root cause. We do not have enough vaccines from the federal government, and it's a joke. 55th in the world. I'm done. Sorry. I'm this is frustrating as anything. So.
Follow-up? I definitely hear your frustration, and I'm sure that's shared among a lot of people in this province who are waiting for their vaccines. But yeah, you talked about the pharmacies. Obviously, off the national capital, we really are. Pharmacies should be vaccinating. Our pharmacists are telling me they're ready. Yep. That hasn't happened, and our city officials yesterday told us they have way more capacity to vaccinate, again, not the supply. And then in Toronto, we've got Mayor Tory literally pleading for people to sign up, opening up to 70-year-olds. Just minutes ago this morning, he thinks, and I quote, "We have the doses." So I know you can appreciate how infuriating that is for seniors in Ottawa who are having multiple appointments canceled. Their 60-year-olds so desperate to see their grandchildren. They're calling to be put on a waiting list in Kingston or Toronto at a pharmacy. So again,
if you're avoiding seeing your grandkids now, getting the vaccine won't change that. In fact, you should stay the hell away from kids because you are going to have some mutant asymptomatic virus that you will be shedding. You shed live virus.
Literally every single day. I was talking to Karen Redmond last night, late at night. Chair of Waterloo Region, wonderful person.
100% effective against symptoms and death. Oh, so you're going to be sick, but 31% of the time,
product flow.
You won't have symptoms.
You don't know when your product's coming. It's
ridiculous. You don't know when your product's coming. Hey, Dougie, what happened to all that hash?
And then I'm going to have Collins.
You should have told him not to pull out of Afghanistan.
Moving on, and I want to address that. But General, how do you have a few?
All you people in Browntown, did you know that this motherfucker was selling hash out of Afghanistan while you were trying to get him?
There are allocation meetings for the vaccines held every week on Friday, and the vaccines are allocated by percentage of population. In Ottawa actually got a few to start with back in December and January, and then sort of came down because Ottawa was so efficient at putting them in arms and was ready to roll and prove the logistics chain for the Pfizer allocation and how we could handle it. And I know that Ottawa, like other people, every single day say they have more capacity than they have vaccines across the province of Ontario. We could easily go to 120,000 a day vaccines in arms. We don't have the vaccines to do that. With a little more work, the planning has already been done. The thought has already been put into it. We could go to 150, even up to 300,000 a day. We don't have the vaccines to put into it. Yesterday, we did 81,000 vaccines into the arms of the people of Ontario. This morning, before lunch hour, we did 26,000, and we'll do that amount tomorrow and more. By the end of this weekend, more than 2 million needles with vaccines in them will have been put into the arms of the people of Ontario. And we'll carry on with those as long as the vaccine flow continues to us. As for the AstraZeneca, we had 195,000 that showed up here just almost 2 weeks ago. We went out to the pharmacies and a smaller allocation to the family doctors, to primary care. The vast majority of that
What's a family doctor, John?
As of right now, we have more than 700 pharmacies with a minimum of 3 in every one of the 34 public health units across the province of Ontario, a minimum of 3 pharmacies in each one that are ready to go, that are prepared to vaccinate people as soon as AstraZeneca arrives. And as the Premier said, I talked to the CEO and President Jeff Leger of Shoppers Drug Mart, and he says they have more than 100,000 people registered with Shoppers and Loblaws
for the AstraZeneca as soon as it arrives, and we want to get it into the arms. We've had the online booking system up and working along with the customer service call center.
They're just repeating the concept. Just think of like a needle going into an arm and just repeating that. Oh, the dose of the vaccine go out of the needle, and you just keep visualizing that when you talk.
Psychopaths. Psychopaths. They have to talk amongst each other to give each other tips as to how to talk to regular people. Psychopaths. Okay, you don't know what I'm talking about? Men. Predators do the same thing to women.
And I want to pay tribute
You know what
to
I'm talking about
public health units. There are 34 of them across the province here, including Ottawa, from which your question came. And those medical officers of health working in collaboration with hospitals, with pharmacies, with family doctors, with primary care. They are the ones who are rolling out the vaccination program across Ontario here. And can I just say, they're doing a wonderful job. You've seen some of them on TV. You hear some of them in interviews. They're doing a wonderful job. And the people of Ontario, I think, hold an appreciation to those medical officers of health in those 34 public health units right across the province who work with all the other parts of the medical system to roll this vaccination program out. The allocation will go by percentage of population. Because of the way it started, there has to be some adjustments. That's been occurring, but that's what the commitment is going forward from here. Allocation by percentage of population.
And you've been listening to Premier Doug Ford and the latest provincial COVID-19 update.
Premier. It's not premier.
Now for 680 News, traffic and weather together.
Premier is when you bring something out the first time. There's an E on the end.
Well, we have a terrible drive on the eastbound 401 right now. Ongoing problems approaching Yonge in the Express. The left lane and the two right lanes are blocked because of a collision here. So only one lane is open. It's lane 2 from the left that's getting through right now because of this collision. Emergency crews very much on the scene. It's heavy on the eastbound 401. Now, first of all, we have volume delays from the 427 to the 400 in the Express. Then it's jammed from the 400 to east of Bayview in the Collectors, and extremely slow from east of Kiel to approaching Yonge in the Express. Westbound on the 401, because of this eastbound problem, we have delays from the 404 in the Express and from approaching Bayview in the Collectors to west of Yonge. Everybody's slowing to look. And then busy into Mississauga westbound.
You know that for a fact.
In the Express to approaching Mississauga.
99% of people are slowing down because somebody up ahead slowed down. You know what chain braking is? You never mentioned it anymore. You still call them accidents. And you talk about how the car decided to drive the other car off the road. No drivers involved.
All the way down to Lawrence, and that is due to a collision, so expect delays in that area as well. Eastbound on the QAW, busy with volume from Dorabelle to Ford Drive. Not too bad, though, on the eastbound Gardner into the city. Northbound Don Valley Parkway, that's the going from Don Mills to north of Lawrence. Love the German engineering of Bosch appliances? Get instant rebates of up to $2,300 on quality Bosch appliances. See TA Appliances for details. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Periods of rain and early this afternoon. Still the risk of a few isolated thunderstorms embedded with this rain, and that can produce some heavier downpours on average for the GTA. We're looking at about 20 to 30 millimeters of rain. But that's in addition to what's already fallen through the overnight and early this morning. So we are going to start to see the wet weather ease, but when it does, the winds start to pick up. Now, we have hit our guaranteed high already today of 10 degrees. Temperatures will start to fall this afternoon as the winds gust up to 70 kilometers an hour. For Saturday, we are mainly cloudy, a few sunny breaks, highs near 10 degrees. Your guaranteed high today, 10.
Cloudy and 8 degrees right now in downtown Toronto, 6 at Pearson. 680 News Time 144.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute live to the Business Center and Chris McCusker. Chris, Irene, TSX is down a single point, 18,649. It's sort of been drifting between gains and losses for much of the session, and it is looking at a losing week, down by about 1%. The Dow is higher by 170, the S&P up by 32, and the Nasdaq higher by 14. Gold is higher by $7, $17.35. Oil up by $2.61, $61.17, and the Canadian dollar higher by 15/100, 79.43 cents US. At the Business Center,
the dollar's up by 15/100. No, it's not. It's up by 15 basis points. 1,500, that'd be 15 pennies. That'd be 1,500 basis points. You're fucking stupid. Yeah, I'll give you a tip. Per cent means per 100. For each 100. It's right there in the name. Right there in the word.
Canada must provide proof of a valid COVID-19 molecular test result. Travelers will be tested again upon arrival. Air passengers are also required to book a 3-night stay at a government hotel at their own cost prior to entering Canada. Details at travel.gc.ca/travel-COVID. A message from the government of Canada.
You know, we're not at this time going to order a mandatory vaccine. No, you're not. You're going to spend the next 2 weeks talking about how you can't. The feds can't make a soldier take a vaccine. Cannot. Oh, all you pussies that got out in the boat. Oh, they sort of pressured us into it. They said that if we didn't get the vaccine, we couldn't go. And we were already in the middle of the ocean. Hey, stupid. That was your clue that they're not going to turn around. You proved you're stupid. You proved you deserve it. Oh, we'll turn this boat around and spend $10 million on fuel because you didn't get a vaccine. Right. Wait, what's a flu vaccine got to do with the... Right.
Here's the top stories this hour.
Ontario says hair salons and outdoor fitness classes can reopen with restrictions in regions that are under lockdown. For salons, that starts April 12th. Outdoor fitness classes allowed as of Monday. Monday is also the day that Hamilton will move into the
good. So all these white people can come into the park and act hard and give me attitude for being there. How many times has that happened? It never happened twice with the same person.
In Toronto. And as of tomorrow,
oh, you've got your pretend gang member, this made-up LA boys, which never existed. Now he's a fitness trainer, and the media backs him all the way because he's such a good guy. Where is he? That's how you know these stories, even those ones, they get paid to run them. It's pure propaganda. They get paid. It's just capitalistic propaganda. Oh, they would still be talking about it when they don't. Who? Exactly.
Over. WiseTech Group offers a one-stop solution to the IT needs of your business.
A proactive approach to providing reliable managed IT services.
WiseTech Group offers migrating to cloud solutions.
Talk to WiseTech Group today about security and backup.
With unparalleled service from their help desk support.
Listen right here, Sunday mornings at 11, as WiseTech Group presents the IT Support Show. Visit the website, itsupportshow.com.
Or email anytime, help@itsupportshow.com.
Panic on the brain, world is gone insane. Things are starting.
2021 third grander. 2021 third grander.
So you don't have to believe me, but sometime between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. the water's going to start to taste like shit. Not literally shit, algae. It just tastes like algae. All this rain's going to stir everything up.
March 26th. Restrictions apply. Details in
surveillance mechanism, and it just got broken down by bureaucracy and rules and regulations, and it got really diluted. So I was around for the 2003 SARS outbreak, remembering that.
Oh, you were around,
the greatest lesson with that was the precautionary.
You would have to be like 16 to have not been around, you fucking retard.
Even in the absence of major data. And Canada really didn't do that, and we've all paid the price for it.
Well, that's exactly what the AG, Karen Horgan, is saying. Her conclusion is Canada didn't see the pandemic coming.
Every truth, every lie needs a handle. The truth, the bigger the lie, the bigger the handle.
Do we know why all that
Talk about SARS, how this came from SARS, without talking about how it's the same virus. You just did it right there.
Early warning.
I was around for SARS, and don't mention that it's the same virus, and somehow it's somebody else's fault.
In bureaucracy, and you know, it's a tough one. And you know what I find really hard about it, I don't want to be overly critical. You know, we all make mistakes, but the majority of Canadians, we have made huge sacrifices, and most of us have really played
psychopaths and child molesters say.
Yes, it is. And you know, we mostly let our leadership get a free pass on this, you know, and the day is going to come as this pandemic winds down. I think it's fair democratically that we ask some really hard questions of how we got into such a deep crisis. Of course it's global. We know that. There's no way we're going to get off with nothing, but it didn't need to be as entrenched as it is. If you look at the countries that, you know, went through the first SARS in 2003, they all did a lot better, and we were supposed to have learned from that, and we really didn't.
Do you believe that Canadians
at least 2002 through 2004 that it was a problem of big one? So it's 2 full years. He's mentioning it like it was a couple weeks in 1 year. And from 2004 to now, it'll be 17 years. It's the same virus, and you won't mention it.
You know, to protect ourselves.
It's like
I don't think it had to be this bad.
The sex offender, the child molester. Oh, they hate people that would do. They hate goofs. They hate goofs. They hate goofs. All the.
But what I would say,
no matter how many times you drop the hint to have the conversation, all they're going to say is they hate people like you. And then they're going to start asking with some weirdo shit to get along with your kid again.
You know, because
the same psychopathy.
Other countries have. Look at Australia and New Zealand. Now, look, those are island states. They have better weather, so they have a lot of stuff.
Australia, New Zealand, Canada, 3 places that did not have sexual violence till your people got here.
I think when this pandemic winds down, we really, really have the right to ask some hard questions.
And by your people, I make criminals that were deported.
Yeah, what really stands out for you in this report from the AG? There's a lot of talk about gaps in that bureaucracy and different levels of government. There were just too many gaps that they were not working together. They were not working collaboratively enough.
You know, what stands out for me is we're not, you know, we've got a disease threat on the horizon. We don't know how severe it's going to be. Why did
really? Because we've been told for 18 months how severe this is going to be. 16 months.
As opposed to just stalling and waiting, and it's low risk. If you remember those weeks and months, it's low risk. It wasn't low risk at all. It was very high risk. You know, so that's what really stands out for me is this lack of adherence to everything we learned in 2003. I keep going back to that. And I go back to that because I was around for that. And I personally found it and professionally incredibly frustrating because I actually thought we learned something there. And then I think we really didn't.
Well, Dr. Bowman, if we didn't learn the lessons from SARS, what do you think are the lessons coming out of this, eventually coming out of this pandemic and COVID-19? I mean, there's been so many things that really have been exposed. I mean, the lack of PPE, the lack of vaccines.
Can you point out what he just did? I will. We didn't learn the lessons from SARS, and now we're dealing with COVID-19. SARS, coronavirus 2. Disease 2019. The very first part of the name is SARS.
The biggest one since the Spanish flu of 100 years ago. All indications
not Spanish, bro.
Diseases are
so you didn't read the medical text. You just listening to the commentary online about, you know, the course it was like, you know.
And deforestation is driving a lot of this. So what I take from that in terms of future steps is we have to have elaborate global surveillance and prevention. Otherwise,
we already have both those things.
Keep coming at us.
Your white people refuse to do it.
I can't imagine going through something like this again.
Refuse to do it.
You ruin us. Like, you know, how many times do we do this? I don't think we could do it again without.
You've never done it once. You've never done it once. You just referenced 1918 when you didn't do it correct then either. That's 103 years ago, bro.
Just finally, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about drive-through vaccinations because they'll begin on Monday at Canada's Wonderland. I mean, we've seen this used quite a bit south of the border in the U.S. Is there any concerns regarding drive-through vaccinations?
Well, look, anything we can do because as we've heard from today's news and everything else, we really are in a race with the variant. So I think it's good
My only concern would be, when I heard
Variant.
ANTS,
not ANCE, you fucking retard.
Like, it wouldn't occur to me you'd need an appointment for a drive-through, and I hope that message is clear because it was lost on me, I'll tell you. I thought you just drove in and got it. But it's by appointment only. So I hope that doesn't confuse people. I think we need everything we can do. As long as it's safe and efficient, we need to do everything we can to keep
sense of entitlement. See how we just tried to play down his sense of entitlement like everybody else. I was beyond me. Really? Because the first thing they said was at the drive-through vaccine clinic, there will be no drive-through vaccines. They didn't even use the word appointment.
University of Toronto. Danny with the news updates at 2 o'clock next here on Global News Radio.
Self-entitled psychopath.
I love you.
Right.
Like the perfect
child molester pathology. Right.
What about IMT the dishwasher?
Oh, God, me, you know.
Instead of the couch for movie night, or I'm going to totally spoil Canada's first ever musical online celebration of Passover. We're telling the Exodus story through song and entertainment, now on YouTube, with special
Here's the problem. All these people are blonde hair, blue-eyed from Austria. What do you have to do with these stories from the Bible?
and so many more on YouTube until April 5th. Visit SaturNightinCanada.com.
680 News Time 156.
Now the 680 News Business Report live to the Business Center and Chris McCusker. Chris, oil gushing higher?
Yes, and it comes, Irene, amid a setback and getting that huge vessel stuck in the Suez Canal moving again. So an attempt to refloat the ship today did not work. The vessel has been there now for 4 days. And best we can tell, this is the first time this has happened in the canal's 150-year history. Now, the canal is a major pathway for trade. So, of course, the longer this goes on, the more
I haven't
likely
seen pictures, but I know how much space there is approximately on each side of that ship.
The canal is
If you didn't unload it yet,
and
you've wasted the last 4 days.
But there are concerns, and because of all of
If
this,
it's
we got
bent up
moving
at all, you're not
higher today.
dragging it
Right now, it's up
straight through. You're gonna have to break it.
$2.55, $61.12 a barrel. Still down by about
You're gonna have to do that on site,
So a third
and you
weekly
can't
loss.
use ships to
Energy
take away the
stocks on
metal.
Main Street, the TSX is now lower by 6, 18,644. It's down by about 1% this week. Gold right now up by $6, 17.33. It's down by about 0.5% this week. And then the Canadian dollar is up by 0.1 cent, 79.38 cents US. Now on Wall Street, the Dow is higher by 180, the S&P up by 26, and the NASDAQ has seemingly run out of steam. Right now it's down 5 points. The Dow and S&P are looking at gains this week. The NASDAQ lower over the last 5 days. In fact, it looks like the NASDAQ is going to be the big loser this week. Let me just double check. Yes, it's down 1.6% over the last 5 days as it stands right now. So shares in a company called GameSquare up by 12%. The ticker symbol on this GMSQF. Now it's a penny stock, but there's some buzz around this company today because the gaming and esports company is adding the so-called Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, to its advisory board. Now it all.
Scratch ticket today. You could win a spin on the bigger spin wheel for a guaranteed win up to $1 million.
Remember the 70s? Coffee was only a quarter, disco music blasting in every club, and when the man pulled you over after a couple of drinks, all he'd say was, "I'll let you go this time, just drive carefully." Well, it's not the 70s anymore. And when you get behind the wheel after a couple...
If you were drinking in the 70s, you were born in the, early 50s, late 40s, which would make you 75 years old, dumbass. Oh, he's shitting on Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Yeah. They're about as useful as the Cancer Society.
Has been totally transformed. And as part of Marion Piano Group, we expanded Robert Lowry with brand new showrooms, filled them with more famous makes for even better selection and pricing. And to celebrate, every piano is priced to clear. Marion Pianos and the all-new Robert Lowry showroom, the two best, just got better.
Now, 680 News regional weather conditions for capitaldirect.ca. Take a little, Pay a little. A Flexi line by Capital Direct allows you to take only what you need when you want it. Call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL to see what's available for you.
We've got cloudy skies across the GTA and winds are picking up. In terms of temperatures, it's 3 degrees in Newmarket, 7 in Oshawa, 7 in Hamilton, and 6 in Markham. 680 News Time, 2 o'clock.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
It's Friday, March 26th. Good afternoon. I'm Alex Bloomfield.
And I'm Irene Credlett. Here's what's making news this hour.
The Ontario government is easing up on restrictions in gray zone lockdown areas.
We're loosening it up just a little bit.
This includes hair salons and more.
The message from Mayor Tory: there's no time like the present to get vaccinated. Toronto is urging people to get vaccinated, beginning to book those 70 years of age and older starting tomorrow.
Why is he divided up by years?
In effect over the GTA.
They're gonna wait till all the people 70 and over get it, and then they'll start taking appointments for those 60, 69. Can that make that? Hey, dumbass! They entered their birth date on the website, right? Right. They entered their birth date on the website, right? So why do they have to wait till you're done the first ones to book the appointments for the second ones? Right. Every fucking Facebook can manage to arrange your events more efficiently than this. Why are they making them wait again? Why can't you set your appointment now and it'll be for later? Your appointment, you set the appointment, it doesn't matter when, the appointment will be for later. Anytime you set an appointment, there's no reason you have to wait to set the appointment. This is the same shit I got from the dentist. I'll call you back in a minute. You call me back. Okay. Hour and change goes by. I call in. She answers the phone and says she's too busy to answer the phone. Really? Oh, I'll call you back soon. Right, because I'm just a nigger. The way they treat dogs, but we don't treat dogs like that. Poison! Hey! Poison! Hey, I'm going to stab Shorty today.
427 on to the 400 Express and Collector ramps.
Well, she's one of the people telling people to hit me and stab me, so we'll change that up real quick. Oh, damn, green beans. I thought I had those.
Southbound on the
I did leave
400,
some.
that problem on the ramp to the eastbound 401 just cleared. So slow go southbound 400 from Shepherd onto the eastbound 401 ramp. Westbound on the 401, that's backed up from the 404 in the Express and from approaching Bayview in the Collectors to west of Yonge. And westbound on the Gardner, we just had a brief problem at Parkside. So it's busy on the westbound Gardner from approaching Jameson over to Parkside, but things should improve now that that problem's out of the way. On city streets, southbound Jane is closed. South of the 401, it's shut down from Church to Lawrence. For a limited time, lease a 2021 Lexus RX 350 Premium Package at 1.9% for 39 months with bi-weekly payments from $278. See lexusofoakville.ca. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Well, temperatures have cooled as those northwest winds have set up now here in the GTA. We remain under a special weather statement. Earlier today, we had our guaranteed high of 10 degrees, but now temps continue to fall. It's not too bad. It's not freezing out there or anything, but a little uncomfortable with gusts up to 60, 70 kilometers an hour the past few hours. And through the overnight tonight, we are going to fall a little closer to the freezing mark, down near +2 for an overnight low. Downtown Toronto, it's overcast 8 degrees. It feels like 4. The guaranteed high today, 10 degrees.
680 News Time, 2:03.
Breaking news from the Ford government. Restrictions are loosening again in COVID-19 hotspots, even as pandemic trends continue to point in the wrong direction. 2,169 new COVID-19 cases today in the province, but more outdoor activities will be allowed in gray zones come Monday.
And in a little over 2 weeks, another sector of the economy is set to reopen in lockdown regions. 680's Mark Douglas is following all the latest news out of Queen's Park. Mark.
Irene, Hamilton into the gray zone. And for everyone in the gray zone, if you've been craving to savor a meal on a patio or desperate to do your due, you have some options coming. The Doug Ford government easing up on certain restrictions in the lockdown areas. And the Premier says people are tired. Everyone needs to stay on high alert. But no, these changes are not mixed messaging.
You know, we should never, ever let our guard down. But in saying that, there's through the chief medical officer and the local medical officers, we're loosening it up just a little bit, and to be outside, to get fresh air.
Now, starting on Monday, not quite open season on patio season all around, but marinas will be allowed to operate their outdoor dining. Also on Monday, permitting outdoor fitness classes, outdoor training for team and individual sports, and outdoor personal training. All of that is subject to public health and workplace safety measures, including a maximum of 10 patrons and active patron screening. Then, April 12th, here's the big one everyone's been waiting for: personal care services, including but not limited to barbershops, hair salons, nail salons, body art establishments, so tattoo parlors. They'll be permitted to operate at limited capacity. Again, that change comes on April 12th.
What many people got hepatitis
the
this
Doug
year?
Ford government putting one caveat
Get
on
tattoos
all
done
of
on the
this,
seat
that
and
the
the down
Lieutenant
low.
Governor of Ontario still has to sign off on all the paperwork. They expect that can sometimes take a little bit of time, but it's not anticipated to be any real impediment. So you can mark these dates basically on your calendar. Reporting live at Queen's Park, I'm Mark Douglas.
And the city of Toronto is issuing an urgent plea for more people to register for vaccines, with tens of thousands of appointments still available next week. 680's Momin Qureshi is here with the message from the mayor and the expanded eligibility taking effect on Monday. Momin.
Alex, this news conference from the city of Toronto wasn't scheduled for today, but it did appear on the schedule as of this morning. And it seemed to be interesting that they were calling it, and the message that came out of it was pretty straightforward.
The key message for today: please get vaccinated.
The message was there's 32,000 empty spaces in your agenda. You're telling people to wait for a certain day.
Eligible to get booked
He's
for the
from Hungary.
vaccine,
Shut
and the
up,
amount of
Hungary.
people that are eligible is increasing starting tomorrow.
There's a lot of Hungarians here in Toronto.
70 years of age or older, you can book your appointment.
This is a significant move, and we are confident it will lead to more people signing up, just as we have seen when we've lowered the age previously.
Tory says starting next week, the city will have 30,000 appointments available. So he's urging anybody, again, who is eligible and falls into that bracket of 70 years of age or older to begin booking your appointment. He said the best time to get your vaccine is now. Reporting live, I'm Momin Qureshi.
Federal health officials are warning of a strong resurgence of COVID-19 and calling for stricter measures to stop the spread. This comes as Canada expects some major vaccine shipments amid fears of disruptions. 680's Parliamentary reporter Cormac McSweeney runs down the latest national modeling.
Over the last 2 weeks, Canada's daily COVID count has risen 30% to more than 4,000 cases each day, with hospitalizations increasing as well. The younger age group of 20 to 39
We went from 3,000 to 4,000. The difference between those two is how many we reported today in Toronto.
The country needs harsher restrictions to stop this upward trend and prevent the worst-case scenario of 12,000 cases daily.
Measures must be stronger, stricter, and sustained long enough to suppress.
Really? How about people adhering to the current measures?
Minister Anita Nunn says over the next 3 weeks, Canada's scheduled to receive as many vaccines as we've already received in the first 3 months of 2021.
That is 6 million more doses coming to Canada between now and April 18th.
So, if you live in Hungary, you'll know exactly what these politicians are doing. You'll be used to this. They blah, 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 blah. Then nothing changes. Nothing changes. I've been bitching about it for, I guess, an hour and 45 minutes. Well, longer than that, but today. That's what I need. That's what I need, is to throw those everywhere.
We can expect strong wind in the GTA this afternoon. A special weather statement still in effect.
Curious. They measure these exactly to the length of the chopsticks somehow.
Riachi says the nice March weather we've been experiencing is coming to an end.
Well, this system will really shift the weather pattern for us here. Sadly, we're going to start to see temperatures decline as we move through next week. For the weekend, we'll hold
I want to know. I would have never thought of that. The chopsticks fit perfectly.
Forecast for Sunday, as well as some
I use these for Chinese food. That's
Canada warning of northwest winds gusting to 70 or 80 kilometers per hour this afternoon.
Uber is hiring in Toronto. Uber
hiring.
Technologies is looking to double the size of its technical
I
team
thought you
in
were
Toronto by the end of the year.
All
The
the people that
ride-hailing
get
and
paid,
food delivery company says it will hire about 60 people in engineering, design, data science, and product management roles. The expansion will also create 2 new teams in Canada to focus on the core rider experience and memberships. The hiring comes after Uber laid off more than 3,000 people around the world as demand for its ride-hailing service plummeted during the pandemic.
An Uber spokesperson says Canada is a hotspot for tech talent.
All I've seen is Uber Eats, all this shit on.
Developed strategies.
There's a few guys for bicycles. I don't know what brand name they work for.
At the business center,
So a couple of them got them electric bikes with the big 4-inch giant, like the big beach tires.
So, how's your blood pressure? Pretty good.
But I'm not talking them electric bikes that look like a scooter, where it's actually quite difficult if you wanted to pedal it and assist. These things look like a mountain bike with beach tires on it, off-road tires, and the electric motor is in the hub of the wheel. I know I got matches here. Oh dear, I know I didn't use them all. They don't just let the motor take them everywhere. They use it like an assist going uphill and on the straightaways and shit. Whatever you're getting delivered off a bicycle, there's some soldiers out here delivering it. But you don't know them because they all got their face covered. And they're not using them stupid blue masks that you're touching and touching and touching your ears all day, because every time it slips off, you're touching your ears. This is your T-zone. It don't matter if it's coronavirus or whatever. The more, that's why I put this one on first. It's not my only reason for covering my ears, is one of them. And then if I'm adjusting this one, my fingers aren't going in my fucking ear.
Your health is getting worse, and your doctor wants you to take time off to make it.
Really? You know, that scenario doesn't exist in Canada. That scenario does not exist. In Ontario, you either qualify for ODSP or you don't. The employers don't have nothing to do with it.
Sorry, things look pretty good there. So we are seeing, well, for the first time in my lifetime, in your lifetime, we saw the more people leave Toronto than came into Toronto in 2020.
But you're
lying. Yeah, and do we expect that to continue, or is that a trend that's going to change as the vaccines
he just made that up.
Back to some kind of, what do you think, Phil?
I think, one, I do think we're looking at a revival of small-town Canada, small-town North America. I believe there will be a settling, and more people will be able to work remotely. It's opened the eyes of employers, and they've said, for a lot of roles, they've said, why not? So I think we will see, call it a revival of growth in small town Canada. But we're such an urban nation that there just isn't room in small town Canada for all but a small portion of our big cities. So no, the city's not dying anytime soon. This, to me, really hammered home when I looked at the sales volume.
Did you hear what he said?
In the Toronto
Did you hear what he said?
Last month. They were up. Now this is in price.
Everywhere outside of the cities is too small to hold all these people.
Sales were up 62%.
He's an old man babbling, and they gave him a fucking radio show. Yeah, it's the cities that don't have more room. And even that is a fuss. So when you correct him on that, you are then repeating another false narrative that there's nowhere to build.
Okay, but when it comes to
prices, 2 dozen fucking construction sites right now, and dozens of empty lots around them.
Sometimes 250,000, even 500,000 more over asking. Have you seen that sort of activity?
Yeah, we're seeing some outlandish.
In our country every night with City News at 6 and 11, only on City TV. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Well, strong northwest winds continue this afternoon. We've had gusts up to 70 kilometers an hour across the GTA. Temps are continuing to fall now. We had our guaranteed high earlier this morning of 10 degrees. We'll be mostly cloudy tonight down to near 2, and it's a mostly cloudy Saturday. A few sunny breaks, highs near 10, and then more rain moves in for Saturday night, and that takes us through much of the morning on Sunday with temps near 9 degrees for Sunday, with some wet weather wrapping up by the afternoon, but still some strong gusty winds Sunday as well we'll be talking about. Right now it's 6 degrees at Pearson Airport, your overnight low 2 degrees.
680 News Time 213.
And now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute over to the Business Center and Chris McCusker.
Well, Alex, we've got a mixed picture and a fair bit of fluctuation still going on, but overall no big moves. The TSX right now is down 50 points, 18,600. The Dow is up by 109, the S&P up by 24, and the NASDAQ down 75. Gold higher by $6, $17.33. Oil is up by $2.74, $61.30 a barrel. And the Canadian dollar higher by $7.100, 0.35 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Being active is better than being reactive. Dynamic Funds doesn't just take what the market gives. Ask a financial advisor about active management and learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
If I told you there are as many as 2,000 homeless youth in our city each night, would you care?
What if I told you most of them have suffered from abuse and neglect?
I told
Then
you
would
that
care?
sex
What if I
offenders
told you many
gravitate
suffer
to
from
the
than they do at home?
Covenant House, and you pay $125 a night for each
How young
bed.
do they need to be before you
Would
care?
you give a fuck?
Donate $8 a month to Covenant House Toronto and provide homeless kids with a warm bed.
Yeah,
hot
the
meal,
same people
and
used to
a better
scream and yell,
future.
"Don't give them welfare." Okay, it's welfare money. Instead of giving them $500, you're paying
Coventry North Land Rover.
$2,400 to $3,600 some shit.
Available in both 2- and 4-door. The dynamic Range Rover Sport or the versatile Discovery Sport. For a limited time, receive interest rates as low as 0%. Lease cashback rebates up to $4,000 and loyalty programs up to $2,500 on select vehicles. Coventry North, the Greater Toronto.
For those with others, so it's private. The seller sees the numbers, but you don't see what other people are doing, and the realtor can't even discuss prices or terms with the other realtors. So if there's 3 realtors all with bid, they can't under law discuss what's in each of the bids. They're completely confidential. Now this contrasts to an open bidding system. If people are familiar with eBay, we can sell homes in the country that are completely transactional, are completely transparent.
eBay used to turn Dutch auction because we came up with that.
Auction the home off. It's just not popular. It's a little more popular in Australia, although not the norm to do it. A little, but it's more accepted here. Sellers don't like it. Buyers don't like it. And you just don't see very much. Occasionally on really high-end properties.
All right, but this blind bidding, I mean, obviously great news for sellers if you're getting $250,000, $500,000 over asking, but is this putting buyers in a precarious situation, and are people paying more than the true value of a home?
The true value.
In a highly unusual market like this, it can happen. And explain it to your listeners. If, say, the home's listed for $1 million and you get someone emotionally engaged in bidding for this property, what they do know, what the realtor knows, is that there's other bids on the property. Doesn't know what they are, and they may put a bid in for, say, $1.2 million, which would be 20% above the asking price, unheard of in a normal market. But in this market, especially if the property was underpriced,
starts at 1.6.
More false narrative. What if no one bid above $1 million and you bid $1.2 million?
It's
so
yours.
You could have paid more than you needed to win that bid. And so the advantage of an auction process where everything is displayed is you wouldn't have bid that much above the next. You might still spool up to $1.2 million if everybody saw that's
as opposed to an auction process. The two terms he's missed here. The one he's looking for is silent auction. It's not different from an auction. It's a type of auction. What they do is a silent auction.
Bidding on a home. People put offers that are conditional on conditional on home inspection, conditional on such and such a closing date. I've seen bids that are conditional on the truck that was parked. Literally, I've had since I read this. The truck that was parked in the backyard, I want that to be part of the deal.
Whatever the lowest bid that wins one of the lots, all the other lots are sold for that same price, regardless of what the bid is.
Even in this market, people say, oh, without condition. It's not exactly true. It's not exactly true. Condition. It's not exactly true. It's closing dates, the amount of down payment. There are always conditions in the offer. Sure. So it's not like just buying a widget on eBay or buying a furry baby or whatever they're all back in the day.
Furries, yes. But let me ask you this about this blind bidding process. Is it unnecessarily inflating housing prices? Or if one house in the neighborhood maybe should have gone for $800,000 or $900,000 goes for $300,000 or $400,000 over true value we're asking at 1.2, 1.3, as you know, the rising tide lifts all boats. Now everybody thinks their home is $1 million home, perhaps in a certain
Municipal
neighborhood.
Property
or around
Assessment
that
Corp,
house,
which
and
is
it's
not municipal,
overheating
it's
the market.
provincial, because this is a union of
In a very
socialist
short
Canadian
period of
provinces.
time, absolutely, you can get a spiraling up, but over a period of time, what typically happens, I mentioned the other periods over the last decades, there's about 4 over the last 40 years, where there's been this short-term run-up in prices that lasts typically 12 to 24 months. And then what typically follows is a few years of flat home prices.
Never done anything different.
And everything evens out. So
everything evens out. Justin Trudeau, the budget will balance
itself. This is a nasty time for house flippers. We don't like house
all these
flippers.
guys are what they used to call confidence.
We like homes.
But the first thing they have to do is convince themselves they have confidence.
But
you have confidence in them.
5 years, you're going to do fine.
You're just like Justin Trudeau.
It's almost unheard of that you're going to actually overpay so much that you haven't made the money up over a period of time. If you're going to try to buy a home and sell it like a stock,
guess what?
a few months
You
later,
always sell it for more than you paid.
Yeah, you better make sure this is your quote-unquote forever home or your home for quite some
like
time.
15%,
Just finally, Phil,
foreign
prices are
owners
right now,
tax, foreign
obviously,
buyers
this is a
tax.
seller's market.
The foreign buyers don't give a fuck.
Do you think
because they just add 15% to the price of the home when they sell it to whoever buys it. Where's the money come from? Us.
We're seeing more and more.
Right, so they jacked up the price 30, 45, 60% on us to prevent foreign owners from buying.
The lack of listings is abating somewhat. I think it is related to the pandemic. More people are being vaccinated. More people are feeling comfortable now that they're
again, that number's always going to go up and not down. You don't get unvaccinated later, do you?
It is getting better. But you do need to understand where you're going before you just throw your home on the market, because it is tight out there, and you need to be sure that your migration strategy is going to work, particularly if you think, oh, I'll sell my home in the city and I'll buy a nice home in the country. Because the price of homes in the country, call it recreational property, have actually risen faster than in the city. They're still cheaper. You're not going to put as much money on
medicinal for oneself, recreational for oneself, medicinal for oneself. Those are opposites in this
country.
country.
The discussion and the time as always. Have an enjoyable weekend.
The prices around the outside of the city are going up faster than the prices in the city are going up. It doesn't matter what he says. If you sell your house in the city for the huge markup you think you got, you will buy less house than you thought you were going to out in the country, out in the suburbs.
Are blocked rather than the 3 right lanes.
You will go from like middle or upper in the housing market here to lower. You're going to live in the ghetto in some middle of nowhere fucking slum town. Well, the prices are always
between Church and Lawrence.
No, they're not.
A serious crash.
And this concept that they go up for like a year or two and then it levels out, that is never happened here. It's never happened here. I don't know what he's talking
rebates of up to $2,300 on quality Bosch appliances. See Appliance Canada for details. I'm Lori Turkoff with Global News Radio 640 Toronto. Shop for traffic.
Love the thrill of a real mystery? Then you'll love the podcasts available from CBC, like Brainwashed. Your objective was to wipe my memory. Evil by design.
It's a white woman saying it, so there's truth to it,
right? Uncover Escaping Nexium.
What is mind control?
We move into the evening. It's mostly cloudy now and 7 at Pearson. Temperatures were much milder this morning. We had a guaranteed high of 10 earlier today. We'll be near or just above seasonal for the next couple of days. No more of those 20-degree days in the forecast.
So believe it or not, this and this are exactly the same.
And then Sunday we'll have
this is absolutely useless to the world. This one here, plants and bacteria and things will grow all over it when it breaks down.
Restrictions are changing in the province's COVID-19 hotspots, including the possibility
What do? They burn this one and throw this one in the compost. Doesn't work. You burn this one. You shouldn't make this shit. These should be polypropylene.
Second
or
harvest is
polyethylene.
feeding the need by setting the goal of providing 1 million meals
These
to
ones here, you
hungry
just have to crush
families
up and go
impacted by
around.
COVID. And we need your help achieving it. Give today at feedingtheneed.ca, and the Daniels Corporation will match donations to a maximum of $250,000.
How many houses did you make last year out of wood?
Second harvest can provide 4 healthy, nutritious meals. Donate today at feedingtheneed.ca.
As we continue to live through the pandemic.
Remember, Second Harvest, all they do is recover food that was about to get thrown out. Yeah, they're not producing some new source of food. They're just collecting food the companies were about to throw out. And there's literally no net benefit to the company, because they can throw that out in the green bin.
Asian community in downtown Toronto, racial slurs were found in the concrete pillar of a building in the Church and Gold Street area over the noon hour yesterday. The investigators believe the person who carried out the
black people get blood thrown in their face for being black, and you don't care. You care about this, eh? Virtue signaling. We're going to fly warships through the Taiwan Strait, and then we're going to virtue signal to half-breeds that don't give a fuck about China or Canada. Shout out the Asian assassins, we're coming for you.
You have to love that North Toronto.
I didn't tell you to name your gang that. You try to base it on racial lines or people that fucking hate you. You did that yourself. I didn't tell you to wave guns at me. You did that yourself. I didn't tell Buddy to open the door. 436 Remington. He did that himself.
Breakthrough. I would have never found this job if it wasn't for ZipRecruiter.
Because the only place she advertised it was on ZipRecruiter.
Project managers to field scientists. With ZipRecruiter, we get hiring results.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.ca/Canada. That's ZipRecruiter.ca/Canada. ZipRecruiter.ca/Canada.
As a business owner, you need a one-stop solution to all your IT needs.
You need the Wise Tech Group.
Because Wise Tech Group takes a proactive approach to providing reliable managed IT services.
Talk to Wise Tech Group today about security and backup.
Wise Tech Group offers migrating to cloud solutions.
And unparalleled service from their help desk support.
Listen right here Sunday mornings at 11 as Wise Tech Group presents the IT Support Show.
Or email anytime, help@itsupportshow.com.
I'm not willing to go out. I'll let you stay. Just sing stuff.
Viendra-t-il? Viendra-t-elle? Oui.
They're trying to induce an emotional response in you that you will carry over into the show towards the host. The problem is, it's the same people for the last 40 years who play that song 10,000 times and tell you how much you love it. So when they play it, they're trying to induce that love that they told you you have.
As it stands right
now. All these motherfuckers died.
On Wall Street, the Dow is higher by 158, the S&P up by 13 points, and the Nasdaq down 54. So the Dow and S&P are looking at gains this week. The Nasdaq not so much. That ship blocking the Suez Canal is probably going to be there until at least Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and that's probably the best case scenario. And an attempt to refloat the ship today failed. We are hearing the U.S. Army could be sent to the area as soon as tomorrow. Al Nightingale is with Bloomberg in London.
Some of the messaging has been a little tricky in terms of what the Suez Canal Authority are saying. We do hear at least a week, and the grounding happened on Tuesday, so that would suggest that Tuesday or Wednesday is more realistic according to what we're hearing. So yeah, it's going to take a bit longer than a weekend, we think.
The price for oil right now is up by $2.47, 61.03, down by about 0.5% this week. The Canadian dollar higher by 179.37 cents US. Gold is higher by $4, 17.31. And the TSX down 5, 18,645. Looking at a loss this week of about 1%.
They were talking about moving it before. Now they're refloating it.
This is 680 News.
The margins are very narrow.
Get everything you need to feel at home during Aero Furniture's March Madness sale. Save up to 50% off select items throughout the store and don't pay for 1 full year. And now you can shop from home at Aero Furniture's new online store. The March Madness sale. Limited time only at all 4 GTA locations and
They haven't mentioned this study. They haven't mentioned this study in us. I listen to them, but I record my responses to it.
5% more web traffic, and 78% of web users research
They got nothing for us today.
before buying.
They got
If
nothing
you're
for
not
us.
creating fresh, unique content,
Oh,
on
there's
your
two
website,
back-to-back news conferences. You know what I learned today? Nothing.
That's where Numero Uno Web Solutions can help. Our professional Canadian writers create online content that moves your company to the top of the list. A 4.9 out of 5-star Google rating speaks for itself. Find out more at numerounoweb.com.
They're going to help you get a better Google rating like they have. Which means they wrote their own reviews. They just told you content creation. They just literally told you what they do. They invent reviews.
Degrees right now in downtown Toronto. 6:80 news time at the Double Stone. 2:30.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather.
Oh, there's so much dumb shit.
Dude.
Good afternoon. This is Friday, March 26th. I'm full Janice Minzik.
And I'm James Monroe. Here's what's making news right now. Hair salons, barbershops, and some outdoor patios and more will be allowed to open in Ontario's gray zone lockdown areas.
I'm going to be frank. People are tired.
Tomorrow's Earth Hour?
Please get vaccinated. Therefore, encouraging anyone eligible to sign up for the vaccine. Starting tomorrow, that includes anyone 70 years of age or older.
So why couldn't they make their appointment before for the later date? And then automatically, when all these people didn't sign up for their appointments, these ones would be sooner. People didn't sign up for their appointments, these ones would be sooner.
Over the next 3 weeks. The Suns and Raptors will tip it off tonight from Tampa. The Jays and Phillies will meet up in Dunedin.
You can post a birthday party on Facebook and not have to make up weird arbitrary rules like that.
2:31.
Trying to get weather together on the line.
Big weather, that type of thing. But ultimately, I think whatever we can do to get.
I don't think we got 40 millimeters of rain either. It don't look like it.
I'm for. So let's get the the Canada's Wonderland and all these other big places open, parking lots. We can do this.
All right, we have holidays approaching once again. Passover begins tomorrow. Easter next weekend. Do you expect this?
What is Passover and what is Easter? No, I'm feigning ignorance on them. I just want to know. No, Easter's not based on anything except other religions. I know the story of Passover. I went to school with Jewish kids. They came in and taught us how to play with dreidels and everything. How come these are the only religions you mention ever? You can't even decide what religion you are. And I guarantee over the weekend, before noon on Saturday, a Jewish cemetery or cenotaph will get vandalized, and that will be the next news story. Every time. Oh, Asians are getting attention. We got some anti-Israeli racism. It'll happen. Watch. It'll be the big story.
This morning on the morning show.
Well, there was the guy in the Jeep in a cemetery.
What was the questions we asked?
That was only a couple days ago.
Flash road to recovery. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
But it's still acceptable to hit black people with cars, throw blood in their face, try to stab them with glass. And every time I get assaulted, I get charged with that assault. I'm on 6 counts right now of being assaulted by white people. Don't forget that.
Over for us here in the GTA tonight. We'll follow